The PodAskew Podcast is a proud member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network.
I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros Podcast.
Each week, we give a comedically informative take on movies,
Music,
television,
video games,
and much more.
Put your shades on and listen to all episodes on supermediabrospodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah,
Shades on.
we're off.
Welcome everyone to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ. With me, as always, is my hetero late mate Rico. What's up, man?
I don't know. I do not know how to answer that question. There's been a lot of shit. There's been a lot of shit.
That's true. And we're not going to deal with that tonight, but because we have a guest who's patiently waiting on mute. So I want to get him involved ASAP, so he's not just sitting there listening to us ramble.
Yes, ASAP. Let's introduce OC.
Yeah. Hey, man, you there?
I'm here.
What's going on, OC? Good, man.
I love how confidently you were like, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Like, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I don't know where this is going to go. We might talk about it.
Well,
yeah,
we might, but I just meant that, you know, I didn't want to leave you hanging, really, is my point there, buddy. How you doing, man? It's been a minute since we've had you on the show.
OC?
Uh-oh.
He may have hit a, so here little background. He's driving.
Yeah.
So.
Our first road interview, if you will.
Yeah. This is the closest thing we'll get
busy
to.
Man.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
I think we're going to call this Roadhead with OC.
There you go. I kind of like it. Well, actually, you know what? And what we're primarily here to at least talk about, and I'm sure we'll get into a multitude of other topics, because that's fine. Just first and foremost, OC, look, you're a friend to us. You're not just a guest. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
You know, while we have a specific agenda that we would like to talk about with you, it's not the only reason we want to have you on the show. So the agenda topic would be the documentary that was just released on YouTube about your art hunt from almost a year ago at this point. Which we're
coming up on the anniversary.
Yeah. I literally just finished watching it 10 minutes ago.
What'd you think?
I fucking loved it, dude. It was amazing. It brought my fiance to tears because she's such an art lover, and I am too. But and you know what? It brought me to tears for completely different reasons in a positive way as well. So I want you to understand that both times it was very, very positive. But
yeah,
it definitely did. I tried. You know what was hard for me, buddy? Well, I have to ask you a question before I get into that. And I never thought to ask you this until I watched the documentary. Would you prefer us not to call you OC and to call you Anthony? Would you prefer that?
In my personal life, like, if we're hanging out, it's weird if people call me OC. I had kept my identity secret for a lot of years.
Sure.
Just put things out as Octopus Caveman. But with the Washington Post article, it totally outed my first and last name. It was like,
right.
Well, here we go.
Okay, I mean, I
don't mind, but either's fine, really. But in my personal life, it's real weird for me when people call me OC. But it happens. Like, there's people that know me from podcasts and from Twitter or whatever, and then they just end up calling you your handle. So that's the weirdest thing about like this modern life is, people being called their like gamer handles, Twitter handles, and all of that. Like, I don't even know some of these people's real names. Like, I know PewDiePie, I know Keemstar. I don't know their real names. It's just these like dumbass names that are famous now.
Well, to be fair, I don't think you really want to know PewDiePie's real name, but I get the point you're making.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pronounced alt-right. That's his real name.
But yeah, that's the first thing, because like you had said this on the episode that you hijacked with Rico last year, and also on the documentary about how you feel saddled with the name now. So I didn't want to say something that was going to make you uncomfortable.
Oh no, it's impossible to make me uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, like we all have those moments. But anyway, I just thought I wanted to get that out of the way. So for the purposes of today, I think you'll be OC, but I'll keep that in the lexicon for later, the differential. So, but yeah, I love the documentary, man. It was really, really an in-depth, bit fun way of looking at a friend, and it was really hard. I tried to separate knowing you from the person on the screen because I just wanted to try to view it that way, and I couldn't do it, but it was still very a fun way to do that.
I think Mike did a great job with that. It was it's funny for me though because I watched it with a childhood friend, and this guy's known me for years, and he laughed through the whole thing, and so it's funny to me to hear some of these people talk about how it was emotionally moving, because I think for a lot of the people that know me, a lot of those moments are just hilarious. There's even a moment where I'm like in MacArthur Park talking about just have a nice day. And the message is nice. Like, you've got to go out and make your own happiness. But there's also a moment where I'm like, yeah, you can just be at home, drink yourself till you pee blood like I did. That, gets a huge laugh from people that know me. It's interesting to see, the difference between how people who know me react to some stuff versus people who don't know me.
Well,
I don't know.
It does throw us off because we do know your sense of humor very well. And then you'll throw us these curveballs on Twitter where you start fucking talking about this depressing thing and we think it's going to be a joke or you're going to have your own spin on it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, he was just he swung at a cop, he was passed down a hot tub, and he survived. That's the story.
Yeah.
It's not you definitely throw us some curveballs because I think the documentary plays that tremendously where you are very funny. I mean, Mike May says that.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, he's just really fucking funny. And then you have these moments of self-awareness. I think self-love is important, and I think self-awareness is even more important. And you have that. You probably have that more than self-love.
That's why I love that Mike opened up the documentary with that video for I Hope You Die Screaming, because I think that's the perfect thing to introduce people to me, because it's this combination of silly and sad and open. I think it's a great way to introduce people to the whole experience. This is the guy and this is the state he was in prior to this adventure that happened.
When I started watching it, and after that opening segment ended, I looked to Stephanie. I said, "Oh, we're going to be in for an interesting ride."
I think
how this fucking starts. Oh, but that's the thing is there's anybody knows comedy always has tragedy. Every comedian who's ever told a dark joke has dealt with suicidal thoughts or alcohol abuse or drug abuse or whatever. And you're no exception. You're incredibly funny, but you've got your fucking issues. The only difference is that you know how to subject it to something beautiful. I mean, that's not to say other comedians and other people with tragedies can't do that. But, I mean, even the littlest things of you complaining about the kidnapped victim painting that you did, and you're like, no one fucking wants it.
Yeah.
Everyone fucking hates this painting, and I'm proudly displaying. I'm like, I fucking love this painting. Are you shitting me?
I think that's some of my favorite stuff is just that stuff in the shed, because I didn't even know we were going to shoot that day. That was the day Mike came over just to meet me, And then next thing you know, he started shooting, and it was like, oh, I guess away we go.
Right, and I gotta tell you, OC, like, I loved every painting that was shown in that movie. Literally every painting. There was not one painting that, whether it was in the shed or in your living room or what, that...
Or in Grunberg's hands.
Yeah, I mean, any of them that were not paintings that I would love to have on my wall. Like, for real. They're all amazing. And if you remember when you met up with Rico last year, you took two to him, and he sent me one, and Rico gave me a choice, and I chose the one I chose just because that's the one I liked a little more, but I would have taken either one. If Rico had said, hey, this is the one you get, then that's the one I would have had, and I'd be equally proud to display that thing on my wall.
Yeah, here's your OC mystery box.
We kept joking about how you were going to get saddled with the hostage.
Which I would have been fine with. I didn't have a problem with it. It's still an amazing painting. I mean, I'm upset that my two favorite are gone, but that's what it is, because I don't know.
They're almost all gone, man.
Well, I know that.
Used to be covered in my art. They're all bare now. There's nothing left. Really.
Well, I don't know if you remember though when we first met, when we first started interacting. I guess it's like 18 months ago at this point or something. I asked you about buying a painting, and the one I picked out was the Love Robot. And, so, I mean, trust me, dude, I saw that woman get that one, and it was like, all right. I mean, more power to her. Like, I'm not hating on anybody. Like, I'm happy for her. It's going to a great home, and she seemed equally happy to have it on her wall as I would have been. So that's great. But, it's like, damn. And then, honestly, dude, my second favorite one you have, and it broke me in a best possible way possible, was the one you gave to your father at the end of the documentary.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I love that one too. It's up above his fireplace now. Lovebot was interesting, man. Like the minute I painted that one, people immediately started asking to buy it, and I was just like, I don't think I'm ready to sell this one yet. And I got some pretty high offers for back in the day, but I just thought, like, yeah, I'm not going to sell it. I really like it. I wanted to hang on to it, but I knew that in order to get people into the art hunt, I was going to have to leave something good. So that was like the fourth thing I left, and the very first one that got found by anybody. Prior to that, all of the ones that I dropped before, God knows what happened to them. They're just gone.
Right.
But I kept thinking, like, man, I think this art hunt could be fun, but people are going to have to get involved, or it's going to be terrible. So I drug out, like, the best painting I could, and then Carrie found it that day, and I posted about how she found it, and that afternoon I got a phone call from the Washington Post, and that was how everything kind of blew up. It was just that moment. It's all Lovebot, and Carrie is now like a good friend of mine and a phenomenal artist. We talk pretty regularly. She's my go-to art pal. I'll send her paintings and be like, "Does this suck?" And, so it couldn't have ended up with a better person. I love Carrie and her family, and that's one of the most amazing things of the whole experience was how it brought me together with a lot of people, and there's friendships that were made in that movie that and even some of the people that were cut out of the movie, sadly, can't put everything in there. But
so I mean,
there's lifelong relationships made from this experience of just reaching out.
Right. Well, there's two of those I'm actually very curious about, and I was going to ask you about them today. Well, one would be a friendship, and the other would be just a connection, really. But the friendship is and I wish I remembered her name. I think it was Joan, the woman whose 41st wedding anniversary it was, who just happened to be walking down the pier. Joan Bloomfield. Do you still communicate with her at all, or was that just a one and done kind of thing?
No, that was it. We had that moment on the pier. I didn't want to pry too much, with her. Sure. So I just wanted to let her get off to their anniversary. So we just kind of had a nice moment. That was it. I think about her a lot. I wonder if, she's had an opportunity to see the movie, but what a cool couple. I really like Joan, but yeah, we didn't talk long enough to make any kind of connection or anything.
Well, I just saw that she was an artist, so I thought maybe similar to Karen. I think you said maybe you guys connected that way. The other one,
we talked for about 20, 30 minutes, but that was about it.
Right. Well, the other one I was curious about.
There's a phenomenal artist, Kat Lanes, that was left out, and she gave me a piece. She found this art, this painting I did that was about not liking my art, and it was so wonderful to me that another artist found it because she got it, and she painted me this really incredible painting in return as a gift, and we've become kind of friendly. And I feel really bad she wasn't in the movie, but Mike had to make some edits, and somehow her stuff got cut out.
Well, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, like you said, you have to make some edits. You got some choices you have to make. The other one I was very curious about real quick was there was a gentleman that took a picture and sent it to his contact in Paris.
Yeah.
Did anything
I don't know
come
what
from
happened
that?
to that guy.
No? Okay.
End of the day, when I was leaving the pier, he waited at the end of the pier for me, and then he wanted to get my email address, and he just, wanted to talk to me further. So he's like, send me your email and I'll email you. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, So I gave him my email address, and then he walked away, and that was it. Never heard from him again.
Well, that's disappointing for you, but I guess it's the way it goes sometimes, though, So.
Yeah, I mean, but even those experiences, I was in such an emotionally bankrupt state that even just, a couple of minutes with a nice person who's having a good time with you, that's, I mean, all of those little interactions even added to the overwhelming joy that came out of this. And then the eventual, horrible sadness.
Well, yeah, and we saw that too.
I still kind of believe some of that stuff from the rant at the end. I really do think that maybe my art isn't that great if 20 million people or whatever saw it, and not a single soul responded. And a couple of months ago, I sent out some emails to some gallery contacts that I had from back in the day. Talked to them, said, hey, I've got this documentary, and here's some links to some press. I've got a lot of good press. I need to know, what do I do from here? Can I potentially talk to you about getting a show? So I 2 or 3 people I sent out these emails, heard zero response from these people. Zero response.
Well, that's not necessarily because of you. I mean, right now the world is fucked up, man, and your art is your art, and nobody can take it away.
Yeah,
from you.
this was a couple months ago, pre-COVID shutdown, all that stuff.
No, I'm not necessarily talking about COVID. I'm just saying your art is your art, and people like your art. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a gallery. I mean, fuck, dude. I mean, no one really fully appreciated Vincent van Gogh until he fucking died. I mean, I'm not saying...
Don't, no.
I'm not saying that's the direction to go, OC, but I'm saying, people aren't appreciated until after they're gone. That's not a fucking invitation, especially when you're behind the wheel of a car right now. You're just like, oh, what a good idea.
Well, one of the things I kept saying to Mike throughout the whole filming of the documentary, I kept saying that Southern California is my gallery and prices are extremely affordable.
That's the other thing is Steph is from your area, as you know. So when we were watching, she was like, oh my God, I've been there. Oh my God, the pier. She was like freaking out over the pier. She's like, oh my God, it stood right there where he's standing. I'm like, I'm sure everyone has at one point.
I haven't.
Yeah, when she talks about, or when I talk about the elementary school, it's the same school she went to.
The one she went to, I think you may have gone to school with her older sister. That was the probability.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird fucking night. That was a great fucking night. I mean, I wish you would have called me more regularly after I blew you twice for the fucking painting.
You want to know, like, this is a little podcast exclusive. It got cut out of the movie, but I don't think my ex-wife is going to listen to this podcast, but I didn't want to bring her into the movie. So there was this moment after I left that painting out on the pier, and Joan and her husband found that on their 41st wedding anniversary. That was on the cover of the Orange County Register.
Right.
My wife read that and texted me after she had read that article, and she was like, "Oh, that's really interesting. Do you know that spot where you left the painting? That's where I stood when I threw my wedding ring into the ocean."
Oh!
And I was like, wow, the fucking coincidences, man. Like, that was just so heavy for me. Yeah, she got upset about the press, and I, respected it, and I was like, I'm not gonna, like, I tweeted it out, that story, along with the picture of Joan in the newspaper, and she had seen that and gotten upset and said, leave me out of this, so I respectfully left her out of the movie, but, that's a PodAskew exclusive.
Wow.
But yeah, I just thought that was so heavy, man. There was so many bizarre coincidences through everything, and like Mike May started doing the documentary, and then he was like, called me like a couple of days after we had just agreed to do this thing, and he was like, my daughter just got a new tattoo, man. I hadn't heard anything about it, but she just went out to get a tattoo, came home today, and she had an octopus on her arm. I was like, what the? That's super weird. And then there's the weird octopus at MacArthur Park, and we didn't even notice that. It was there was a lot of weird coincidences and shit going through all of it. I think part of that is this weird interconnectivity idea. And then the thing that always weirds me out, like halfway through this thing, I was like, I'm named after Saint Anthony, who's the patron saint of lost objects. Like, every Catholic knows, you lose something, your grandma's going to tell you, like, oh, just say a prayer to St. Anthony.
Yep.
And I thought it was so interesting that I'm named after the patron saint of lost objects, and here I am leaving these objects. And in a way, through the process of doing that, this lost and found art hunt, bolstering my faith and getting to a better place. Like, it was phenomenal. I didn't want to, hijack Mike's movie and make it a Christian thing, but it definitely felt, like I said in the movie, things felt guided. It felt, it was just interesting to me.
Well, I mean, and you know what? That's the thing, OC. Like, Rico being a lifelong atheist probably won't agree with this, but like, you don't have to necessarily. I was raised Catholic, so what you're talking about with St. Anthony, believe me, I know. And watching you talk about wanting to be a priest when you were younger was really interesting for me too, because my mom swore up and down I was going to be a priest until I was about 25, and then she gave up on that dream. But so I in a lot of ways lived similar paths, like I never had the desire that you did, but I know that raising and that upbringing and that being in that, that dogma, so
yeah.
It was interesting to hear you talk about it. And I'll tell you right now, man, if you had become a priest, you actually would have made going to church fun, because if it had been you giving lectures on the pulpit, it would have been worth it. I'm just saying.
I don't think I would have lived as interesting of a life. I probably would have been a very boring, sexually frustrated alcoholic priest, like all of them are.
What's the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I know this is really kind of a left field question, but what were you drinking in the documentary? What was that bottle you were drinking?
Oh, Hurricane Malt Liquor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not a beer man because it just like fills me up too much. Like, I swear I could drink like infinity beers, and hard liquor fucks up my stomach so bad, so I don't do hard liquor very often. But malt liquor is just this perfect sweet spot where it's just fortified beer, 240s of Hurricane, they're like 12% alcohol or something safe, and they don't taste horrible. So I've been a malt liquor man like most of my life, man. I drink hobo shit. It's like made for hobos.
Yeah, but nothing was at your most hobo-ish when you drank that canned wine.
Yeah, okay, I have to jump in here because I didn't get to be a part of that episode. You drove up to that area. Am I not correct for the conference you were there?
Yeah, so, I had a work conference up in Northern California.
So why didn't you drive to a liquor store and get something good as opposed to the gift store at the hotel?
I drove up with a coworker, and it was late, and I didn't want to like go pound on her door and ask for her keys so I could drive to the liquor store.
Oh, it wasn't your car. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
all
and
right.
we had drove up together, and the bar had closed, so all that was open was the little gift shop, and the selection was not great. So, I mean, I don't think that was very hobo-ish, because each can of wine cost me like $24.
Jesus Christ.
You spent like $60
I
on
did,
wine?
yeah. It was like $60 on 3 cans of wine.
Luckily, it got you fucked up. I mean, I remember I wasn't there that day, but you were like, I saw your tweets that night, and you were like, hey, I'm drinking canned wine, and it's got quite a fucking punch.
Yeah, I remember I was like, it packs a wallop.
Yeah.
It was, that was a delightful surprise, because I was all bummed. I was like, man, fucking $60 for 3 cans of wine. And I was thinking, like, oh, this isn't going to get me there tonight. But, yeah, luckily. I don't think, wine is not meant to be chugged. You can chug a beer, and it feels right. But chugging, like, ice cold Chardonnay, just, it doesn't go down the throat well.
No.
It really does not.
No, it doesn't.
It's better when it's a little warm. Yeah, I've chugged a bottle of
I
wine.
remember my buddy Aaron, like in high school, his parents had like this huge fully stocked bar, and they were never around, and it was like the perfect house. But he was always afraid of them finding out, like, you know, measuring the bottles, the thing that we're all afraid our parents do that no real drinker ever does.
No.
But yeah, so his thing was, if we were at his house, you could take one drink from a bottle. That was it. So every time we went over to drink, it was like you had to get your whole evening's worth of booze in that one drink. So you'd just be chugging like massive swigs of, you feel like you're breathing fire afterwards. You just get the bubbles going up the bottle, and then you're like, But there's a consequence to drinking that fast. When you drink that fast, it all hits you all at once. And it is sometimes crippling. Like, you're just there, and you're normal, and next thing you know, you're on the ground. It was some of the most extreme drinking I ever did in my life. I was like 16 years old drinking at Aaron's.
This one time, I did something similar with my dad's wine. I drank. I mean, he had like most of a bottle, and then I took my big glass, and I felt like I had taken too much, so I poured some grape soda through a funnel, and then just set it aside.
Oh,
and then
boy.
my dad fucking poured himself a glass, and it's probably the only time I've ever seen my dad say in his life, "This wine sucks." And then he said, "What did you do?" I'm like, I added some grape soda. He's like, "You ruined a whole batch." And I'm like, "It's $2 Chuck. What the fucking, like, it's not, I didn't fucking ruin like an 84 fucking Chardonnay. I was just like, you got it for like $2. So that was literally my dad's payment. He was like, "You owe me $2 because this, now I'm pissed." And then he just went and poured himself a couple shots of tequila, and that was all good.
I'm obsessed with people that have these very specific knowledge bases, like people that know a lot about wine to the point. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, I know that a Pinot Grigio goes with this dish. I'm talking about the people that are like, this particular wine from this particular year has this particular set of attributes. Those people fucking fascinate me. And there's those people with other, like, worthless things. Like, there's those people with horse racing, where they can go to the horse track and they know this is a good breeder, and this is a good horse, and this horse has, like anybody with a vast knowledge about something so singular and specific to me is, like, my favorite. Like, there's a guy out there who is the best guy in the world at repairing typewriters, and like, he hasn't been able to do his job in decades, but he's the best, and he's out there somewhere, and he's got all of that knowledge, and it dies with him.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're right. It's like, oh, someone's like, oh, this white Zinfandel not only was it made in this particular year, but the man who stood on the grapes had a really bad fungus, and the wart, the wart made that wine extra spicy. And then at the same time, his girlfriend that he was cheating on came in and mud wrestled the other girl that was there, and then it made this weird kind of toxicity that kind of makes the wine super vibrant and fresh and awful at the same time. And you're like, how the fuck do you know all that? Oh, well, there's just some things worth learning. Like, no, there's not.
I want you to take a snippet of that and make it the podcast Twitter bio. Please just make the podcast Twitter bio vibrant and fresh and awful.
That does describe the show, so...
Those words just kind of describe, like, Surge. You remember fucking Surge, the soda?
God, yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the commercials with the orangutans for Tang.
Yeah.
I never understood why that was attractive. It's like, all right, here's this awful powdered orange drink that the astronauts drink. Here's a bunch of orangutans to entice you. It's like,
there's not even... Yeah, aren't they just orangutans?
Yeah, orangutans.
Orangutans.
I mean, it's the same question of, like, why do bears love wiping their ass? I don't understand the charm. Isn't it Charmin? Is that the commercial where the bears just love taking dumps and wiping their asses? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Man, I know families like that,
Because if anything, a bear would not use toilet paper. It would use a squirrel or something.
Squirrel?
Right, yeah. What's that joke, like the bear and a rabbit are next to each other in the woods? The bear turns to the rabbit and says, "Hey, does the shit stick to your fur when you poop?" The rabbit goes, "Nah." No. The bear grabs the rabbit, wipes his ass with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a great joke.
No, it is actually.
I'm not responsible for that one.
No, I think Eddie Murphy kind of popularized that one. He said, "Any kids in the audience?" And a couple kids, like, "All right, I'm going to tell you a joke you can tell at school because I've been really naughty up here. Here's a joke," and then he still says, the word shit in it. That's the ultimate irony.
Yeah.
So that night,
like, dinosaurs are fucking super cool.
Oh my god, dude, dinosaurs.
I'm telling you right now, OC, I'm probably going to substitute our normal closing music for that song on this episode. Like, I'm not even kidding.
No, please do.
I love that song. All right, I'll tell you a very quick story. You'll appreciate this. Rico, I think you already know this story, but I'm going to tell it to OC because I don't think I had the opportunity. But once a month, my buddy does every week he does a Twitch stream. You know Twitch, I'm sure. Yes, OC?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because I've talked to a handful of people that don't, so I'm just checking. Anyway, he does a week.
He means a thing, not what you do when you drink too much canned wine.
Yes. Anyway, he does a weekly Twitch stream of playing various video games or whatever, but once a month, instead of playing video games, he gathers like 4 or 5 of us and we play tabletop games. And he's got a camera and it shoots the whole thing and whatever. And like the week you put that song out happened to be the week we were going to go do that. And there's me and 5 guys I hang out with on a regular basis, and I made them all listen to that song all the way through. And they all were like, "This is funny, but what the fuck?" Like,
it's the best Tom Waits song he didn't do.
Yeah, for real.
I just realized Twitch stream sounds incredibly dirty. Like, Twitch stream sounds like what happens when you're trying to get that last couple drops out.
Hey, if you have prostate...
It describes a female orgasm.
Twitch stream.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Is Twitch all gaming?
Primarily, but there are some angles for you. We actually could put the podcast on Twitch if we wanted to, because there's an audio section. I'm still working out the bugs on that. But yeah, it is primarily gaming, but there are other things up there.
Yeah, all the reviews are like the worst game ever.
I've never understood people who listen to podcasts on YouTube. But I guess like there's a huge community of people who just they like to have it on YouTube, and I think maybe it's the comments, because you can dig into stuff in the comments section. Maybe that's an attraction. Maybe it's people at work that are just got a tab open on their work computer, so they don't have to have Spotify or their phone or something. But that's always been confusing to me, is the YouTube podcast listeners.
Well, I mean, there is a feature of the fact that YouTube is usually always automatically installed on a phone. So if people don't have enough room for like Spotify or a podcast type of app, they can just access PodAskew on YouTube. They don't have to. But like, for example, I've been reaching out to a potential guest that we kind of locked down, and I didn't have my Spotify on my phone. So I didn't want to send them that link. So I just found the YouTube link. I'm like, here it is. And if you want to listen to it on Spotify, you just search it, and there you go. So
I definitely, like, if I was giving somebody advice on what to do with a podcast, posting on YouTube is definitely, like, you have to do it, because there's literally millions of people who just listen to podcasts there. It's just fascinating to me, because I think there's so many other, I don't know, there's listeners of all the properties out there in the world. That's just fascinating to me.
YouTube is how we got most of our Southeast Asian followers, because most of our listeners on YouTube are from like Sri Lanka and Southeast China and that whole region.
Shout out to all my homies in Laos.
Yeah, for real. Like, hopefully they're going from this to your documentary right on YouTube. Just click right over. So
definitely.
Well, because I am gonna put a link.
I grew up. It's great.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description, so it'll be easy for anyone that wants to watch it. Listen, I think I can speak for Rico here, dude. I am so incredibly happy for you that this happened. Not only the articles, but the documentary, and just the experience. Even if it wasn't documented in any way, just the fact that you did it. Like, that's just an awesome thing. Like, I remember the first tweet you put out, not the one where you said you were going to kill yourself, because that's not good, but the first one where you actually said, you know what, I'm just putting the art out there. And I immediately messaged Rico and said, go fucking get one of those paintings. Like, I told him, drive 8 hours and go get one. Like, like. Yeah,
and I had to have him meet me halfway. And I'm like, oh, he's going to be in San Jose? All right, yeah, then I'll do it. Then it's worth the drive. 45 minutes for me. I feel like after watching that movie, I was like, I feel like such an asshole. I just like, 45 minutes. Yeah, I can do that. I even tried to make you come to me. I was like, hey, you going to be in Oakland? You're like, no. I'm like, well, I guess we'll figure something out.
I was stuck at that hotel, so there was no way I was going anywhere.
Yeah, it's weird. I get to say that I spent like a lovely evening in a hotel with OC, and my girlfriend sat in the corner and watched.
Does that make Steph a cuck? I'm just asking.
I mean,
yeah, I think you cut your lady. She's a cucktress. What's a lady cuck?
Yeah, I guess that would be a cucktress.
I didn't even know that was a word. I knew the other word, but I didn't know that one. So hey, there you go.
It is now.
I think we got an episode title, you guys.
Yeah. Oh man. Actually, we haven't had you on since you won Cinema Wars. So, what was your experience with? I'm curious what you thought of that after you did that and whatever.
Yeah, you fucking dick.
I love Cinema Wars. I keep waiting for me and Chris to defend our title.
We're working on it. Actually, we've actually started working on it because you've had challengers. I don't know if you know this, but you have had challengers.
Yes.
So
I love that, like, just the nonsense debate stuff.
Yeah.
I want to go back and listen to that, because now we've seen how the Skywalker saga has ended, and I'm curious to go back and who won that? Who was Rey? Rey was Palpatine.
I don't. See, that was
for Rey is just Rey.
Well, I said she was either a clone, and you were like, "Yeah, she's just Rey. She's just Wilson," and I'm like,
yeah.
So if anything, I was probably the closest, but I think we were both.
You said Anakin clone, and I was saying it would be cooler if she was just Rey.
Well, yeah, because we have a new term for the average man on this show because of you. We call them Broom Boy. Anytime we just talk about the average human being, it's the Broom Boy because of
yeah. Dude, so I was thinking about that Cinema Wars because one of the questions I thought about the other day, I was watching Point Break, and one of the questions was, I think it was like the most likable villain.
Yes.
I think Bodhi from Point Break is the answer.
Is he a villain, though, in the true sense of the word?
Yeah, I mean, there's no other bad guy. He is the main villain of that movie. I mean, they're trying to catch him and the dead presidents.
I think the remake can be considered the fucking true villain.
Yeah.
I have not seen the remake, and I don't know if I care to.
No one did. That's why it did so badly.
Right.
I love the original so much because the performances are all so sincere. Even though I think like they had to know that this was kind of a fun, silly movie. I just love it. But yeah, Bodhi I think might be the most likable villain.
It's not a bad pick. I got to be honest with you. See, it's not. I mean, in the true sense of the word, a villain. You're right. He is, but I almost feel like John C. McGinley's character is more of a villain than Brody is.
Yeah,
you know,
he's so great at that.
He is. Well, he's that stereotypical police chief. And he totally played it that way, whether that was on purpose or just happened to be. But he is that stereotypical. Give me your badge, or you guys are done here. That's how he played it.
But he's not the stereotypical black chief. That's the difference. There's two different chiefs in 80s movies. There's a black guy and there's a white guy, and they're very different.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
they both have the bottle of antacid in their desk next to the bottle of Jack.
And they're both really just have had enough of your shit.
Yeah, right. Sex your body king cash.
I still think that one of the most underrated movies of all time is Last Action Hero. Agree?
I really love that movie. I mean, I think maybe that's just our generation kind of embraced that movie. I mean, I don't think I was old enough to go see that in the theaters, and probably too young to convince my family that we should all go see it. But I watched that on cable constantly. It was just always on something.
Yep.
So I think it's one of those things that the love for that movie was a little bit delayed, but it's a fun movie with a lot of great weird jokes.
Well, it also competed against Jurassic Park. That's why it bombed.
Yeah, that is why it bombed. What was that, 92?
93. I mean, if you aired that movie now, I think it would have such a huge following because it's all about being meta and it's self-referential. I mean, every fucking movie now is, hey, look at me. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm wink wink at the camera. I'm saying I'll be back and trust me, and it's not a tumor and shit like that. I think Last Action Hero just was way too ahead of its time. But it had an angry black cop in it.
Yeah, the chief. All of the stereotypes at the police station in that movie are amazing.
One of my favorite angry police chiefs, though, has to be the guy from Demolition Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my favorite angry police chief that I've seen.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Even all the dumb shit.
So
really ass and all that stuff.
Well, so I'll share something with you, see, because we're kind of getting to the end of the quarantine phase of things with the virus. I'm sure it's not over, but we're certainly
not after the riots. It's going to spike up.
That's true. But in any event, the point is that we were starting to kind of wind down from all the hysteria from COVID, and at the beginning of this thing, when toilet paper became a thing and you couldn't find it anywhere, I called Rico. I was like, dude, we totally, because we do movie commentaries, right? OC, you've seen that we've done those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I said to him, we have to do a Demolition Man commentary because it's an educational film at this point. You have to learn how to use the 3 seashells. I mean,
yeah.
and
I think I respond with, like, I don't know how to fucking, am I supposed to jam it up my ass? I don't know how to use it. They never explain that shit.
do you know nobody to this day knows how to use the 3 seashells? The only person who apparently knows how to use the 3 seashells is the writer of the movie, and he refuses to tell anybody.
It's his number, it's his 47, or it's his 42.
It's his
That's
42,
what it is.
yeah. So.
How to wipe your ass is the meaning of life.
There is no hell. There's no way in hell you could get everybody to band together and choose seashells. Even if it was some kind of, like, system. I always imagined they were buttons, so you had to press these buttons. But nobody's going to go, yeah, we're going with seashells. Somebody would be like, no, I want Raider helmets in my house. You know what I mean? You could never get people to agree on one particular shape. We don't even have one standard shape of toilet. We got two, because there's two types of people. Like, you could never get it simplified down to just that. Like, even with toilet paper, there's divisions. It's like, I'm a 2-ply guy. Like, no, I'm an ultra-roll 3-ply guy. And then remember the weird black toilet paper that the Kardashians use because they don't want to see poop?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Oh my god, please look into black toilet paper. It's this ultra-expensive toilet paper that's dyed black so that you don't have to look at poop.
Who's looking at poop?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you wipe your butt, and I don't know, look in the bowl afterwards, but yeah, the black toilet paper, like, you can't see the poop on it. I don't know what I'm not in the black toilet paper price bracket right now, but that's another tax code, but it's out there, and the Kardashians are into it.
It straight up looks like a fucking tire.
There's
weird, right?
I'm not even joking. I found it on Amazon, and there's yellow, there's green. Oh no, I think these are different wrappers. I can't tell if these are actually different colors or different wrappers, but either way, this is nuts. No, those are different colors. There's yellow, there's green, there's orange, there's red, there's pink, there's blue. So you have a rainbow.
The red one would alarm the fuck out of me. Leave everybody on.
I love that probably somebody, with all of the rush to get toilet paper with the COVID shit, somebody bought someone that black toilet paper because it was all that was available, and they got it. We're like, what the fuck is this?
Shit. Okay, I don't know where to go after that.
It's alright. The end.
Yeah, right? See, everybody. Nice talking to you. So
I didn't specify anything. I just said those people. I didn't specify shit.
No, you didn't specify shit. That's why we have toilet paper problems. See, so just getting back to the stuff a little bit from the movie. Are you still have you made a new batch of paintings since then? I mean, it's been a year.
I was painting, kind of steadily as I was dropping stuff off. And like January of this year, I think I painted about 20 or so.
Wow.
But then I had decided to start selling. I dropped off a few more. I did a couple of drops, like 4 or 5. There wasn't much excitement over them. And most of them I didn't even hear back from the people that found them. And I thought, well, this is kind of sad. I guess the drops are over. People don't care. And then I started to sell, and I think because I had held off selling paintings for so long, the minute I had allowed people to buy them, there was kind of a rush in the beginning. And now I sell a couple a month here and there, but I'm almost out. But in the last couple of months, I had stopped painting and just went off and started working on some music stuff. So yeah, I'm running low, but I had been painting pretty steadily throughout the whole documentary filming, and then even afterwards.
So does this mean you'll actually finally take some commissions from us?
No, I can't do commissions, man, because I can't paint anything on purpose. That's still a problem for me. Like, I got asked to paint a bird for, there was a bird sanctuary that was having some financial troubles, and they wanted to do an auction, and they said, just paint us any bird. And I was like, okay. And I had about a month to do it, and after a month, I called him, and I was just like, I can't do a fucking bird. It was like every night painting for a month, and I couldn't in a month paint a bird. And that was like the simplest of instructions. Just paint a bird. Couldn't do it.
The irony now, though, is now that you're not under that commission, you're just going to sit down and paint one day, and you're going to look at the canvas when you're done, and it's going to be a fucking bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. One day that'll happen.
Yeah.
I did one commission years ago, and it was terrible, but my friend had asked me this is long, long ago when I first started painting. He wanted a little girl playing with a ball, little boy having a heart attack, and in the background of the playground, a giant mushroom cloud. And I painted it, and it looked fucking horrible, but he paid me for it. But I was like, yeah, I cannot do commissions.
So you basically painted Sarah Connor's vision from T2, is essentially what you painted.
Only with a little boy having a heart attack.
That was Kyle Reese. It was Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor as children before they hooked up.
Yeah, he had a heart attack moments before he was then eviscerated by the blast of Judgment Day.
The ball symbolizes humanity. She's playing with humanity, and in the background, it's, I don't know where I'm going with it. See, that's the thing, is we want a commission. We just say, hey, surprise us. No matter what, it's going to be fucking weird and kooky and awesome.
And we're going to love it.
And we're still going to love it. I mean, you were convinced no one's going to want that kidnapped victim. And I hold it, if I had a nail, I'd display it proudly on my wall, but it's also not my house. I'm saving it for when I'm like, it's my own place and I can display it, but it's near my TV.
Dude, as I hated that thing, I was like, everybody is going to hate this, but I love it.
I love it. I looked at it as a movement for like Me Too. I thought it was a symbol. That's another thing you say in the movie that was really fucking funny. You're like, someone's going to look at this and see something that belongs to them. Whereas, oh my, I didn't even think of that. I just drew a dude.
Yeah. The perfect place to hang that hostage is when you have a house of your own. Just have a closet dedicated to it and just hang it up in the closet. Have that be the only thing in that closet.
That'd be
weird.
And
actively tell people, don't look in there.
So then they look at you. That's awesome.
I mean, I don't know how to get a house. Your place looks comfy. Should I go the trailer route?
I mean, trailer living isn't for everybody, but I love it.
And, Rico's not wrong, and look comfortable as hell. If you're loving it, then yeah.
It's kind of a perfect situation for me. Like, the trailer situation that I'm in, there's no internet there. There's one internet provider for the whole park, and I swear to God, it's like Joe's Internet. And they have internet speeds that are so slow that you cannot watch Netflix on two devices at the same time. That's how bad the internet is. So it's like, I'm not paying $150 a month to not be able to have internet that's functional. So I got rid of that. And like, the trailer's weird and from the 70s. Like, dude, it's a very specific situation. So I can understand how it wouldn't suit most people, but I really thrive there, man. Like, it's just like, I paint and I work on music and I'm almost distraction free, where if the internet is only in your phone, but you're not going to watch a bunch of movies and just like be a couch potato like that. I'm more encouraged to get up and make music or go paint or do something like that. Then I feel more fulfilled at the end of the night.
Well, I will share something with you that you'll find kind of entertaining. So we have a friend, and you're listening to the show and you hear what I'm about to say, you'll put together who it is, who lives in Australia and has... We were assisting this person with their internet connection, and the way the internet is set up in Australia is ridiculously stupid. Like, beyond stupid. It's worse than what you were just describing, and this is nationwide, OC. It's crazy. So yeah, but the way their internet works is like a cell phone plan, but it works for their home internet. You pick how many gigabytes you want per month to have, and then the top speed is like, and then the top speed is like 20 megabytes per minute, or per second, I mean.
That's fucking awful.
And that's the nationwide, or at least the region of
at least
Australia.
Sydney. That's really how
Sydney.
it is. I mean,
That's Sydney?
That's Sydney. Yeah. That's
I
down.
can understand that if you're like talking about the middle of the donut,
Yeah,
like
you're
Australia's,
in the bush. Yeah.
Nah,
Is there
man,
anybody
Sydney.
that lives in the middle?
No.
Kangaroos.
and claws with gonorrhea, apparently. We learned that the hard way, too. So
No, it's chlamydia.
Was it chlamydia?
Chlamydia.
My bad. Yeah, okay.
Chlamydia.
But yeah.
Chlamydia.
So yeah,
Chlamydia sounds like a horrible seafood dish, you know?
Yes, it
Chlamydia.
does.
It does. It also sounds like the wrong stripper name.
I mean, you can get chlamydia at Red Lobster. This can happen.
And not from the food.
No, even better, you can get it from the food. I don't know who's fucking the lobster, but if it's that type of shade of red, it's got chlamydia.
I'm going to go out on record here because I know a lot of people jump on Red Lobster. I fucking love Red Lobster. I've never had a bad time there.
I used to, OC, and the last 2 times I've been there, I was really disappointed. I used to love it too, dude. I'm with you. I went every year for my birthday because my mom would say, we can go out for your birthday for dinner, we go to any restaurant you want, within reason. Like, she didn't have, like, an endless amount of money, but, not like fast food. Like, let's go to a place, sit down, have food, and I would go to Red Lobster every fucking year. And then I went, like, 2 years ago for my birthday, and it was such a letdown from when I was, and we're not talking about I was a child. My last time I went with my mom, I was 18, and it was still good. This was just a letdown.
I still have never been. I've never been a Red Lobster. I've always been curious, but I've had really awful times at Applebee's. Every time I've been to Applebee's, I've walked out like, that was one of the worst fucking experiences of eating out, apart from like this one chick I went down on.
I don't know. I mean, I've had pretty positive experiences at Applebee's too.
Yeah,
So
but
I-
you're fucked up on malt liquor. That's why.
This is true. This is true.
You got your canned wine and your malt liquor. You're like, oh my god, Applebee's is so good. And as you eat it, you're like, I got an idea for a painting.
Dude, I am straight up a hobo though. Like, I eat. I've got a fully stocked cabinet of Vienna sausages and beans, and like, I'll eat straight out of the can. Like, I'm pretty much old timey hobo. Just malt liquor and cans of sardines and Vienna sausages.
Do you know? You know where I want to see Rico go and watch his head explode? OC, I want to watch Rico go and have a meal at the Olive Garden because he's so about Italian food. And look,
and just get something classic, like just the spaghetti.
Right. Nothing fancy. Spaghetti with meat sauce or something. Like,
But, hey, motherfucker, I was right when I told you, I'm like, you have not had good pasta. And you finally said, all right, I found some good pasta. It was delicious. So, I don't think I'm going to fucking find that Olive Garden, but I've told Steph, I'm like, I would love to try it.
No, you're going to hate it. You're going to fucking hate it, buddy.
I know. But I said I would love to have that experience of hating it.
Well, wait, don't hear. Listen, I have a request. I want you to wait until we're together, because I want to be there and witness the pure disgust on your face as you try to scarf down.
Okay, but it can't be the first meal we have together.
No.
Because then I'm going to be like associating, like, yeah, the first time I met my buddy CJ and had a meal was him purposely taking me to the fucking Olive Garden to watch him throw up in the house.
Now, the first meal, according to you, the first meal we're going to have together is we're going to randomly be at the same funeral. So it'll be someone's catering event. That'll be the first meal we have together.
You know what they're going to serve, CJ? It's going to be fucking fried rice with nothing but peas.
Yeah, fuck that really shit.
Fuck with
anyway.
See, I don't think it's going to be like, Olive Garden is not throw up bad.
No, it's not. No.
Is it as bad? Is it Denny's? Because I've thrown up Denny's.
No, it's way better than Denny's.
It's way better than Denny's.
Yeah.
And I like Denny's.
I mean, I loved Denny's for a long time, but it's a very regional, like, it's this one sucks, but the one across the street is amazing.
Oh yeah, everybody knows there's the good Denny's. You've got the good Denny's and then the one you don't go to.
You know,
are you home?
I am, yeah.
Hey.
Awesome.
COVID traffic, baby.
COVID traffic. There you go. You know, I'll tell you, OC, like you were talking about the good Denny's. I grew up on the East Coast, so like I grew up with actual old school diners. So, like, people who grew up in my area don't like Denny's, generally speaking, because we can go to an actual old school diner and sit down and have diner food. So it's I forget. I was living in Arizona for a while. I know Rico knows this, but I don't know if you know that. I lived in Phoenix for a year, and I was out.
It's a fucking bird. You should try it.
What's that?
It's a kind of bird. You should try it.
Yeah. So I was out there living for the year, and I was with some friends, and they're like, "We're gonna go to the diner. Do you want to come with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. I haven't had diner food in a while. Let's do it." And they fucking took me to Denny's, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, I mean, I still sat and had fun, and I think I had coffee and cheese fries because it's really hard to fuck up cheese fries. But
the closest we have in Northern California is like maybe Nations.
Oh,
like,
Nations is my shit.
Yeah, Nations is like the diner in and out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it is just
except for the burgers.
Chain.
The burgers are okay. They're just kind of fucking soggy as shit. Like
I like the burgers.
I know, but like I always say no dressing, and then I add my own dressing because when they do their dressing, it's just like, oh, would you like a fucking gallon of mayonnaise? It's like, not really. And you say, can you go light on the mayo? And they give you half a gallon of fucking mayonnaise. It's really, I honestly, I think anything worse than Denny's is probably IHOP. I've had,
I like IHOP
weird,
way
man?
better.
I don't. This is fucked up, but I went to an IHOP once with my friends as a teenager, and I put Ipecac into one of the syrups.
You did
yeah.
what?
Why?
Because I thought it would be funny. So in one of the, they have the little carousel of multiple flavors of syrups.
Oh my!
One of them had Ipecac in it. So I've been tortured by this. Like,
have you? This is you coming clean?
Well, no. I was telling somebody about it recently, and I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty bad." And my thinking is maybe it diluted it enough so that it didn't function, but alternately, what if it didn't? And then constantly people are like, yeah, somebody threw up at table 4 again. Because not everybody's going to use the blueberry flavored syrup. So they're not going to find it right away. And if somebody throws up at a table, they're not going to think, oh, we got to dump out all the syrups. They're just going to go, oh, that was fucking gross. Clean it up, go on with their days. Couple more customers later, somebody sitting at that table uses the blueberry syrup. Boom! It happens again. They're like, it's the weirdest thing.
OC, what you should do is you should look up if that particular IHOP was closed for health violations, because then you'll know how it worked or not.
I don't even think a health inspector could even find, like, yeah, I mean, they would just be like, yes, I'm just saying it's clean as fuck, but people keep throwing up every time they eat at table 4.
It's just, I mean, at this point, it's probably got to be empty. How long ago was this?
Yesterday.
I was 15 or something, so we're talking like 22 years ago?
Yeah, it's probably empty by now, sure, yeah. Oh, that's funny, though.
Yeah, I have nothing really against the pancakes at IHOP. I think the food itself, like, Steph and I got, like, just simple fucking food. We got like burgers and a sandwich, and it was just dripping with grease.
Yeah,
like,
but if you go to IHOP and get anything but breakfast, you're asking for a mistake.
Fun. I have a fun fact about IHOP. They use pancake batter in their omelets. That's what makes their omelets so like hearty and thick, and they're wonderful. I highly recommend the omelets.
What was your take on them trying to rename themselves IHOB? International House of Bullshit?
What? No, it was a joke. You realize that?
I don't think so. I think they were actually legit trying to be like, we do burgers now, motherfuckers. You're gonna love us.
Yeah,
we don't love you at all.
Yeah, they were realizing
House of Pancakes.
I mean, you can't.
What part of
can't sustain
move?
What is your rush when you're a breakfast place? Like you have the drunks at 2 a.m. And then you have, like the what, like 5 to 10, 11? You can't run a whole business without serving lunch.
Yeah, who are you trying to fucking, like, what are you trying to achieve? You trying to be Denny's? Like, calm down.
Yeah, for real.
I love that we all know there's a good Denny's in every neighborhood. I have the good KFC and the shit KFC too. There's the good Del Taco and the bad Del Taco.
Out here, there's a good Taco Bell versus the bad Taco Bell. All the Taco Bells that are merged with KFC are shit, and all the ones that are standalones are good.
No, there's a Denny's near where I grew up in Emeryville, and my friends and I would go there. Joe, he was on Cinema. Yeah. So Joe and I would go there like almost every other week. It was kind of like our spot. We were like 19, 20 years old. And the food was always kind of like, okay, it's really good tonight, or it's just okay. It was never shitty as shit. But I remember looking at the reviews once, and one guy had written a review saying, this is the only restaurant I go to where I know my waitress is packing heat. It was the funniest realization that, and I had read later that there were like gang wars in the parking lot. We never saw this shit. But we've gone there numerous times throughout the day, 8 o'clock in the morning or, 2 a.m. or right in the fucking smack middle. And never once saw any fucking crime or anything, but the fact that someone wrote a comment saying, my waitress is packing, it just made me fucking laugh my ass off.
I love people that can declare their love of fast food, because maybe this is a California thing, but everybody down here is like, oh, I cannot stand McDonald's. But they'll go to McDonald's. Everybody goes to McDonald's. Like, just fucking own up to it. Be like, yeah, there's one thing I love, and every time I go, I get that one thing.
Well, I mean, OC, I'm with you, but I'll say this. If I lived on the West Coast, I would go to In-N-Out Burger 100 times before I went to McDonald's. And I love me some McDonald's, but I would go to In-N-Out Burger or even Carl's Jr. before I ever went to McDonald's.
You know why we don't go to In-N-Out all the time? Because it takes 45 minutes every single time.
Oh, that's true. A couple of times I've been there, I've gotten In-N-Out. I mean, no pun intended, but I've gotten In-N-Out pretty fast.
I went to In-N-Out, got In-N-Out, and I was In-N-Out.
And it went in, it came out.
I now there's the episode title, In and Out of OC. That's the.
You want to tell them what we named the 100th episode we just did?
100 Velvet Butterflies.
I said that the word vagina was too harsh for what it was, and I said it's got to be called something fucking nice, like a velvet fucking butterfly or something.
That's beautiful. I always have this argument, like I'm not a fan of anal sex, and because to me, if you have a choice of holes...
Well, wait, giving or receiving? Because there's a whole different dynamic depending on which end you're talking about.
I love how we... Hold on, wait. I love how we went from in and out to anal sex. I mean, kind of the same shit.
I got a story about both. I mean...
You got butt fucked and in and out?
No, I've never been... Well, I was molested as a kid, so... I mean, we're talking...
And there's that OC fucking wit right there.
That's
great.
No, I remember I went to go get my prostate checked out with my urologist.
That's not anal sex, dude.
No, I know, but I was trying to get myself into the headspace of it's gonna be fine. And I was like, some people like it. It'll be normal, it's gonna be no big deal. And it was the most uncomfortable situation of my life.
Was it a man or a woman?
It was a woman. She's great.
That makes it kind of worse.
My urologist is the coolest woman, but she hates. She's like this cool, she laughs at me sometimes, but she's this cool, brilliant Jewish woman, and
Jesus Christ.
So she hates when I call my penis my pee-pee and my wiener, and every time she's like, penis, So I was like, yeah, and then my wiener, and she's like, penis. I know she's delighted in it, but I have to keep at it because her frustration that I refuse to call it a penis, so I have this thing on my dick, and she's like, penis. Well, my wiener, and it's wonderful.
I have a little spot on my hoo-ha.
I still want to hear how this relates to anal sex. I'm missing.
Okay, Rico threw me off. Damn it, Rico. But I was talking about
I'm the one person who could throw OC off. Yeah, I finally
No, I was just talking about how I prefer a vagina. I'm not a fan of the butthole because if you have a choice of holes, one is self-lubricating. Like, it just seems, you know, like,
the mouth.
I think that no, I think that straight men who are way into anal sex, they're neglecting that vagina. That's a bummer. Like let me utilize that vagina if you're not going to use it. You know, you can finish that.
It's not always the guy who wants to butt fuck. There's lots of women who prefer to have a dick in their ass.
That's true. There are a lot of people who enjoy it for pleasure, but for my personal pleasure, I'll take the self-lubricating one.
I legit was hoping that this story that you still really told us is going to be like I went to my urologist and then I ended up butt fucking her.
No.
And that's how that's my experience with anal sex. She stuck a finger in me and I stuck my dick in her.
No.
But my favorite thing was like I got this Jewish proctologist and I'm like, that's a lot of guilt with a finger in your ass.
Oh man, she's a delight. Man, every time I went to her, I had to like have a different hole de-virginized. Like she had to run that tube up my penis. That was the most
catheter,
horrific thing I've ever experienced in my life.
The first time I had my asshole fucking invaded, I you know, because we all, as me especially, have to like make jokes of fucked up situations.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, hey, well, there's that happening. So I just tried making jokes and I'm like, you know, most people don't see this side of me. And I said, and I'm like, I'm on the table and I just kind of said like, you know, usually you have to take me out for dinner for this type of angle. And I swear she was chuckling and she's like, Rico, if anything, you should be taking me out for dinner after this. Like she was just as funny as I'm like, you got to take me out for dinner for this type of harassment. And she's like, you're going to owe me dinner after what I'm doing. This is fucked up.
Take her to In-N-Out Burger.
Take her In-N-Out.
Or Denny's.
In-N-Out.
I had horrible bladder problems because of alcoholism. So, like, after my marriage ended, I just really climbed into a bottle, and I literally was drinking until I was just up all night peeing blood. And you know, you go like, I don't know why that's happening, but I don't have insurance, so that'll just make me drink more, and then you know, more blood. It was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, what a lovely fucking story.
So after Mexican jail, I started to turn my life around a little bit, and I quit drinking so much, and I stopped peeing blood.
Hold on, back up to Mexican jail a second.
Yeah.
Oh man,
what happened? Did you eat the worm at the bottom of the tequila bottle? Is that what happened?
I was working in near the border in El Centro, and the hotel bar that I was staying at closed at like 10 o'clock, and I was on a mission to get fucked up. I mean, and there was no liquor stores open. It's just a little farm town in the middle of nowhere. So I asked the bartender, you know, where do I go? And he's like, well, there's really nothing on this side. And he's like, but, you know, there's a cool bar on the other side of the border. Anyway, I listened to his advice, and I was like, I don't want to, like, you know, I'm not looking for, like, a Tijuana experience here. I just want to have a couple of drinks. And he was like, no, it's really chill. So I crossed the border on my own, and I had a wonderful time at the bar. It was great, man. It was like Mexican Cheers. Like, good crew of people. Had a good time. But on the way walking back across the border, somebody smashed something over my head and robbed me. And the cops found me bloody in the street. And instead of, you know, taking me to the hospital, they took me to jail. And I spent the next 3 days in a horrible state of, like, concussion and bleeding from the head and just begging every cop that came on, like, or every guard, I guess, you know, to get me to a hospital or let me out or let me make a phone call. And finally, I had this guy that agreed that he would get me out if I wired him $1,000 when I got out. So he snuck me out the side door of the jail, took me into his SUV, and I'll never forget he had like these weird cigarettes you can't find in America. They were like Marlboro, but they were cloved and menthol. They were fucking awful. But yeah, it felt like such a miracle getting out of there that it kind of changed my whole life. And I started doing things a little better and trying to piece things together. But I still had, years after that, still had, bladder issues, and I was concerned about it. And I went to the urologist, and she put a hose up my wiener to take a look. And I was so scared of it. Yes, that's exactly what she was saying. Yeah. I was so scared, man. Like I knew it was coming. She had said, there could.
You knew it was coming.
Well, she had told me that the previous meeting that there could potentially be some bladder cancer. So of course I spent the next week losing my shit. But I knew it was coming, and I even called my ex-wife and was like, "Would you just go with me just to hold my hand, because I'm scared?" And she didn't. I ended up going there, and it was pretty horrific having this like thick tube run up my pee hole, and that was the day I farted out of my dick. So to have something rooting around in your bladder, I guess it's really uncomfortable. So they preemptively kind of catheterize you, and they squirt this thick numbing fluid in there that's kind of like the consistency of hand sanitizer. Like it's a little bit viscous.
I think we all are fully aware of what that feels like in this day and age.
Yeah. So they squirt this kind of viscous stuff into your bladder, and then she looked around my bladder. Luckily, things were okay. It just had some scar tissue inflammation. But so I went home, but as I was leaving, I was like, they were like, by the way, you're going to urinate out the fluid, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable. So I was peeing, like drinking all this water to try and pee this stuff out. And I finally, was peeing so much, I just decided I'm just going to, park myself on the toilet. I'll just sit here and watch a movie and let this, viscous stuff ooze out of me for the next couple of hours. So it started to feel like it was getting towards the end. And at the very end, I could hear it. There was an audible fart that came out of my dick. And it fucking shocked me. I was terrified. I farted out of my dick. So I immediately got my phone and I went to Google and I searched farting out of my dick. And the stuff that I read on there horrified me. There was a man who said that every time he masturbates, he farts out of his dick. This is like a regular thing for people. So I was terrified thinking well, she broke my dick and now I'm a dick farter. I gotta live my life as a dick farter now. That'll be great. Oh yeah, I had my teeth smashed out. And, by the way, I fart out of my dick sometimes. But trust me, I'm a great guy. I'm marriage material. Let me tell you about the time I was in Mexican jail. So, I was freaking out about being a dick farter. And I went back to her for a checkup. And I go, she was like, how's everything feeling? I was like, oh my God, I feel okay now. But the night after you did that scope, I farted out of my dick. And she goes, penis. And I go, okay, I farted out of my penis. And she was like, she started to laugh. And I was like, I'm freaking out. Am I a dick farter now? I read this as a thing. And she was just starting to, very... she was really trying to keep her composure. She was like, sometimes a little air when we put the numbing fluid gets in there. It's not going to be a regular thing. I'm sure you're fine. And I wanted to ask her all these questions about all of the dick farters I read about on the internet, but I restrained myself because I think I had put this woman through enough. But
I think we have a title now.
No, I already got my title. OC, I don't know if you can look at the screen, but I think I found your hotel in El Centro.
I see it. I was at a Holiday Inn, thankfully.
Oh, okay, because that
but I know that place. I think that's kind of near Burgers and Beer, which is a place when I was a photographer we used to go eat at when we were out in El Centro.
Well, if I could get more, if I can get more serious for it, do you think would you still do that? If someone asked you to shoot their wedding or something, is that something you would do?
I couldn't even do it now anymore, man. I don't have gear or anything.
Gotcha. There you go. There's the Denny's in El Centro. Now the question is it the good one or the bad one?
That looks like a pretty good Denny's, man.
It looks decent. It looks like it used to be like a El Pollo Loco or something that was converted into a fucking Denny's.
Hey,
That's a brand new build right there. Holy shit, this does not look like the El Centro I was in.
Well, how long ago were you there?
This is 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
How drunk were you?
Extremely.
Well, there you go.
Well, not in the El Centro. I was extremely drunk when I crossed over into Mexicali, but shit, that might have been where I stayed.
That's not a Holiday Inn, I don't think.
Is that a Fairfield Inn?
I think so, yeah.
I think I was at a Holiday Inn. Anyway, when I got back from
partying dick, so like, let's sightsee fucking El Centro. Can we? Like,
this is just going anywhere it needs to go. Hey,
since you're topic, motherfuckers.
Since you're home,
let me finish the Mexico story. Now that all these El Centro pictures are coming back. Well,
since you're home, if you wouldn't mind OC throwing your camera on, it would make life easier for us. But that's completely up to you.
Oh yeah, since I am at home now, I guess I could do that.
Well, I mean, it's your call. You don't have to, but it does make life easier for us.
It would be weird if I was opposed to that.
Well, we know people that are. Hey, there he is. Really? What's up, man?
Hey. So, so after when the cop got me out of the jail, and he dropped me off kind of at the border, there was a big fucking line there to get back across to the States, and, I was covered in blood at that point because I had this horrible head wound and, just spent 3 days in a horrible, Mexican jail holding cell, not eating, drinking the water. You know how you get water in Mexican jail? They fill up a 2-liter Coke bottle with just tap water, and they throw it in there, and you and the 15 guys, you just share it. It was fucked up. Anyway, so they got me to the front, or they got me to the border, but I just walked to the front of the line, cut in front of everybody. Nobody's going to argue with the guy covered in blood, I thought. I just walked up to the front, and one of the cops stopped me, and he was like, reaching for his gun and hey, And he's like, if you keep walking, I'm going to take you to jail. And I went, well, are you going to take me to American jail or Mexican jail? He said, American jail. And I said, then take me right now. I don't give a shit. He was like, hang on, man. And he really calmed down the situation. And was like, what's going on? And I'm like, look at me. I'm covered in blood. I just spent 3 days in Mexican jail. A guy hit me over the head. He was like, do you have ID? I'm like, I have nothing. It's all gone. He was like, well, where were you born? And I was like, Pomona. And he was like, all right, well, nobody make up Pomona. And just let me go through. So I still had a number of miles from the border to get back to my hotel where my car was, but I didn't have keys for my car. I knew I had money in my car. I had stashed $300 in the glove box. So I flagged down a taxi and I asked him to give me a ride back to the hotel. And he got there and I was like, he was looking to get paid. And I was like, give me 1 second. And on the way back, I was thinking, what am I going to do? I'm like, I'm just going to smash a fucking window. At this point, I just need to smash the window, get my money, that's it. So I was like, hang on 1 second to this taxi driver, got out, and I was looking around the ground and finally found a suitable, those ornate garden bricks that kind of have the, I grabbed one of those guys and just smashed against my driver's side windshield, or not windshield, the side window, and it just bounced back. It just kept bouncing back, and I left a little dent. But here I am pounding on the thing, and the driver was just I'm gonna go, and I was like, no, wait, I haven't paid you yet. He's like, no, it's bueno. I gotta get out of here. He's really freaking out because he's thinking he drove me to a crime scene to break into a car. But yeah, he ended up just taking off, and then I went into the hotel. Thinking that all my stuff that I left in the hotel room was going to be gone. They hadn't even checked me out. The lights were on, the TV was still on, and the young kid working the front desk, he was like, oh, what happened? You're all bloody. He's like, yeah, I got attacked in Mexico. And he was like, oh, man, that's a bummer. I'm a medical student, and people with head wounds like that, sometimes you're going to have seizures for the rest of your life, but I'll pray for you. Wow. Thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks for making me feel dandy.
I'm gonna fart out of my dick and I'm gonna have seizures while I'm doing it. It's.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad Mexican experience. I had food poisoning at Taco Bell once, so I think I got you beat.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely got me beat. Would you rather be a dick farter or have
seizures?
I'd love to know the other option.
We're talking about seizures. Would you rather have seizures or fart out of your dick forever? Just, I'm a dick farter. Every once in a while, just a little right out my dick.
Is it painful?
The dick fart?
Yeah.
No, just psychologically.
I'll have the dick fart.
I'll take the dick fart, yeah.
I think I'd take the dick fart too, man. Seizures are no joke.
I think what would be worse is if I had the seizures and then it made my dick fart.
Yeah, see, that's...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're just fucking seizing out, and people are just hearing it and hearing other things. They're like, oh my god, is he shaking his face? No. He's farting out of his dick. It's perfectly normal. There's nothing normal about that.
I think everybody who has managed to listen to this whole thing is definitely going to be Googling dick farting and reading those same horrible stories that I read.
Yeah, they're going to type in Google dick fart, and then Google's going to say, why?
Yeah.
You know what? All right, so Rico knows this, OC, but I'll share with you. We can hyperlink anything in our description on the episodes, and I almost feel like I need to just write dick farts and hyperlink his search results from Google, and just let people.
Please do.
So,
there was one guy that said every time he stroked down, he was putting air into his penis, and every time he stroked back up, so it was like farting out of his dick.
As you do.
So it really is kind of just a queefing dick.
Yeah, it's a man queef.
Yeah, a man queef. So women everywhere are listening to this be like, now you know how it feels, asshole.
Yeah, to have a man queef.
A meef.
A meef.
Yeah.
A beef.
It's... Look, I will preface this by saying
Octopus Caveman.
Oh God!
No, don't do that to the man, please.
all the tentacles have penises that part at the end of it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this episode, please tweet out #Octopus Caveman.
And yeah.
That's how we're gonna get some fucking notice, DJ.
OC, you should, because you know how you can change your name on Twitter, not your actual handle, but your display name.
Yeah.
You should change it to that for the week that this episode comes out.
No, you know what I want? If anybody does listen to this and ends up clicking through to watch the movie, please reply on YouTube on the movie
with Octopus Caveman.
The Octopus Caveman.
It's so funny. I really wanted.
I'll thumbs up that.
Oh,
shit
I know
too.
you will.
These are my people. And everybody else who's watching the documentary will just think that I'm being bullied.
Someone hacks your YouTube account and be like, yes, I approve this bullying.
That shit.
It's so funny. See, this goes back to the conundrum I was referencing at the beginning of this, where we know you. You know what I mean? Normally if we have someone on who's done a documentary or been the focus of a documentary like yours was, we're not going to be off discussing which Denny's is the shittiest and whether or not you fart through your dick. It just doesn't go there. So...
Does your dick also whistle, "Oh come all you faithful"?
You know what's interesting is thinking about, I think shopping malls pretty soon are going to be a thing of the past. So not only, my son will have vague, memories of shopping malls, but I will have to explain to him that there was always a good mall and a bad mall in every town. Remember that?
Yep. Oh,
remember the bad mall?
Yeah. And then
Some towns still have them, and they're all threading places.
There's three, actually, OC. There's the good mall, the bad mall, and then the dirt mall. Because there is that, too. So, you really have three.
When you choose, a flea market over the dirt mall, that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, if you feel like walking a lot on a flat surface and being hounded for everything, yeah, it sounds better than what that fucking mall is across the street.
Isn't the dirt mall and the flea market the same thing? Because that's always how I always viewed it. I mean...
Yeah, me too.
I've had some really good experiences at flea markets. I've had...
Yeah, but by the definition of what we're talking about here, because the thing that Brody and TS go to is basically a flea market in Mallrats.
But it was inside.
Yes, that's what in Jersey. That's what a flea market is.
Oh, a flea market has always been consistently outside every time in California.
Well, we don't live in the wonderful weather of California, so fuck off.
No, there's indoor swap meets even out in like Moreno Valley and stuff.
Yeah.
They're here. I always
Okay.
love how delightfully hillbilly most of California is. once you get out of the civilized areas, it's farm country and shit. You know, you go up to Modesto, that's America, man.
Yeah. I've always found it really interesting when I've seen, like, I've got, like, members on, like, my mom's side of the family that act like hillbillies but have money. And I call them privileged white trash. Because they're just like, I want to, they even talk in a southern twang, but I'm like, you grew up in fucking Pinole. What are you talking about? It's like, I love NASCAR, and like, calm down, dude. Like, you're from El Sobrante. You're not from, like, fucking West Texas and shit. Like, your
I know
mother...
a dude from here, Beach City, grew up talking like Keanu Reeves in Point Break, and now he's, like, adopted a southern accent, and he wears his MAGA hat everywhere. He's just... Like, the fake southern accent is a delight because it's just 100% affectation. Like, it's all put on. Yeah. But he's just like, yeah, well, we gotta get them, Mexicans out our country, and it's real bizarre, man. Especially because he married a Mexican woman and has half Mexican kids, but he's like, yeah, these Mexicans ruin our country. Like,
well, maybe he knows something we don't. He's like, I tell you, man, I helped breed half of them. They're fucked up.
Jesus Christ, no.
He's not understanding that maybe it's his side that's fucked up.
Right, yeah.
He's just like, nah, man, I'm perfect. I know how to change. I went from Keanu Reeves speaking to,
to the rat way. That's the Lord's English. I should also mention, he's got schizophrenia, so not a whole lot of people taking his stuff seriously.
Okay.
It's an interesting development. They do.
They do.
He's like, I have 15 Mexican kids. It's like, no, you don't. You have 15 personality.
I'm hesitant to say more and like directly out the guy. But
no.
Not a great dad. Probably not a great husband.
And probably that guy who would be like, where are these podcasting motherfuckers?
Yeah. It's not a guy you want upset with you.
Right.
Like, I'm going to make your dicks fart, motherfucker. The wrong way.
I will put up the money for somebody to approach a prostitute. You'll have to do it in Vegas where it's legal. Just be like, I want you to make my dick fart.
And they'll be like, what?
Actually,
man, I can't. I can think of weirder holes to fart out of. Like, could you imagine farting out of your eyeball?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, what? I've had my eye be super dry, and I'm trying to rub it. Also, go. Oh. By the way, I think a hooker could actually make your dick fart just by actually giving it a blow job.
Yeah, just like open up the hole a little bit and blow some air in there. Somebody test that out. I want
them to blow smoke up my ass and also make my dick fart.
I need to share with you guys something that only you two will appreciate, but
this
still.
started off about art.
It did. Well, that too.
This started off about how depressing your shit is.
No, it's all dick farts.
All right, CJ, what are you going to share with us? Is it farting dicks?
No, it has nothing to do with dicks or farting.
Penises.
No, I want you to understand that this is what it was like trying to listen to the one that you guys hijacked. Except now I get to be a part of it. Because all of my reactions, all the things you guys are seeing and hearing me say, are the reactions I had walking through downtown Philadelphia listening to this on my earbuds. Like, what the fuck is going on with my show? What the hell happened?
You were live texting me, too. As you were listening, you're like, fucking Hitler's ball!
Well, yeah, like, what the
What would happen is, though, there would be a lull, and then I would ask a fucked up question.
Yes, you would.
I want you to do that. I want you to ask CJ and me a fucked up question.
Go for it. Why not? At this point,
what's been keeping you up at night?
At this point,
okay. Well, you just want a fucked up question, or what I've been thinking about lately?
Well,
either or.
At least just make it funny. Do you?
Do the dance monkey dance.
No, stop it. No, Rico, stop it. That's not right.
That's not what I meant. I'm saying, like, fuck you. Ask your question, bitch. I don't know.
Well, the one I used to always ask, like, in high school. No, it's not. It's not good at all. Like, oh man, it was always, would you rather have sex with your mom or your dad? Think about it, because, like, if it's life or death situation, you have to do this gun against your head. Who do you go with? Right?
CJ, you want to take this one first?
No, I really don't. No.
All right.
No.
Because gun against your head, I feel like in that kind of life-threatening situation, my dad would be, like, more understanding and less emotional. And he'd be like, all right, let's just do this, Like, I feel like he would be more rational about it. This is why I say you gotta think about this one.
The worst thing is I do have an answer. That's what really sucks.
Right?
Like, here's the thing. I once had a very vivid, and it came out of nowhere. I had a very vivid nightmare, and I choose the word nightmare because I did not want to drink this shit, of me blowing my dad. I don't know why.
Oh boy.
Because that's like real personal shit. Like, you gotta care about the person you have their dick in your mouth, or vice versa.
Oh my god.
So, and it was just an exaggerated penis, to quote somebody who's smarter than all of us. It was a very veiny, just like, it looked like an octopus tentacle, if I'm really gonna kind of be so bold.
Right.
And I don't know why. It wasn't like I saw my dad in a new light that day. That I woke up to that really
that is really dark, dude.
I've already kind of had that horrible thought process. So I'm like, I think I'd prefer my mom because at least I came from there. I'm just kind of re-entering my first apartment.
Oh boy. I think though you got to think about how this is going to affect you psychologically in the future though as well, because as a straight man, I don't think I'm going to have flashbacks to the sexual encounter with my dad when I'm with a woman. It's such a different thing. And I feel like my dad is so much more the rational one. It would just feel like this is a thing we need to get through to save our lives.
I think I'm psychologically scarred just by being asked the question. I mean, forget the actual act. Like, Jesus.
But here's the thing, CJ, you get 4 fucking options because you were adopted.
5.
Oh, there we go.
5 options. So.
Well, yeah, you've got more options than us. We got suckered with.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah.
No, I don't know that makes me any luckier. Like, really, I don't.
Well, you could choose the ones that you're not related to.
Yeah, you have a non-biological option, or I envy your position, my friend.
Don't. Please don't.
To be fair, if I had a gun to my head and they said, I want you to jack off, I think I'd still have problems with that. That's a whole other,
but we're going like Black Mirror season 1, episode 1, like the pig, like we're going to give you the Viagra, like this is going to happen.
I mean, I think my parents might be like, what if you just kill us? No one gets to fuck anybody, but we'll die. He'll take both of us, but he gets to not fuck us, and he gets to not die, and then he can fuck
Everybody dies. Everybody dies. Yeah, you can't.
Well, Jesus. Let's ask another fucking question.
I didn't get an answer out of everybody.
I gave you. Okay, yeah, CJ, you got to give an answer.
No, I think I'm dead. Honestly,
no way. There's no way. With your 5 options in you, anybody's going to pick everybody dies. That's too much bloodshed, man. Somebody's going to fuck. Whether you want to or not.
What? I just feel I would like negotiate with the fucking.
You know what the irony is, Rico? You know what the irony is, and people haven't heard it yet, and they probably won't hear it before this comes out. But we just recorded a very nice, like, hour-long I Love My Family bonus episode of PodAskew.
But that's the point. Is you love your family so much you will not have sex with them.
Yeah.
To save their lives, man.
No, I thought it was gun to my head.
Yeah.
everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies. You have to make a choice, or everybody dies.
Can I fucking negotiate with this terrorist and be like, how about they fuck each other and I jerk off?
No.
Can I do
Because I don't want
all of this gets cut out.
No,
Okay.
no.
Wait. Here's the thing. Peek behind the curtain. We're not naming names. We have now, CJ and I have now had a understanding that we will cut shit out if you are really serious about it.
Yes.
But we are still going to post a fucking episode. So if you come to us like a week from tomorrow and be like, hey, we can't use any of that shit, tough shit. It's going out there.
No, it is.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Jesus, I don't even know where to go. You asked for a question and you just derailed the entire.
You need to give us an answer.
No.
He said everyone dies. He hates his family. That's what he said.
No. All right. I will do this. I will say mom, but I won't say which one. So there we go.
Okay. It's just one on the side.
Side mom.
It's your mom on the side.
I think.
It's so gross.
Oh man. All right. Fuck. What? You had to ask for a question. You.
The end.
Yeah.
So see what's been going on, bud? How's your boy? How's your son?
How's he doing for real?
He's great, man. I got a couple new albums coming out too. That's awesome.
Oh, you do? What?
I do.
Cool. When are they coming out?
Any day now. I sent them over to the distributor. It cracks me up that I'm putting out an album called Drugs with like the dumbest cover ever. But I used to really think about titles and album covers, and then now I'm just kind of like, fuck it. Like, it's just, there's not many people listening. It's interesting to me that I could spend, 8 to 10 hours on a painting and then sell that painting and make some money on it, or I could spend hundreds of hours completing an album and lose money on the whole ordeal. But I think this is my 24th album is about to come out.
Yeah, you've got quite a few. I've seen your library on iTunes.
Most of them very bad. The last 3 pretty good.
I still am waiting for you to tell us that you blasted porn on your neighbor's Bluetooth. That's the album I want.
Dude, I can't get through to their Bluetooth speaker. It doesn't have the range
tried it?
of mine. Yeah, tried it? I can't connect. There's no devices other than mine, but mine has killer range. I got this expensive Bluetooth speaker when I traded in a phone at Sprint, and they were like, "Oh, well, you have $300 in store credit." I was like, "Okay, well, cool. I'll just spend that later." And they're like, "No, you have to spend that right now." I was like, "Well, what am I going to just buy $300 worth of fucking chargers? Like, I don't want to make a purchase right now." They were like closing in an hour, and they're like, "Well, it's just for today only." Like, well, can I order stuff online later? Like, no, you have to do it right now. So I just looked around and I found this fucking stupid $300 Bluetooth speaker, but the range is killer.
Yeah.
So
you know what you do?
That in the middle of the night, I can wake up to mariachi blaring in my house.
Or you know what you do is you hide it on their porch somewhere, and then you link your phone to it and blast the porn into them that way.
We have a very tense relationship as it is. Like when they had a party and started blasting mariachi in my house at like 2:00 in the morning in my son's room where I had the speaker before I learned they could do this. So middle of the night, my toddler is awoken to loud mariachi, and I went out there in a fit of rage and ended the party. Like, "You motherfuckers!" And they were just like, and I'd never spoken to them before or since. But
oh my God, Senor Ryan Johnson's yelling at us.
Yeah, so we have this tense sort of truce almost, where they're not super mad that I play music kind of late. I'm not in here blasting amplifiers to 11 in the middle of the night, but I'll play piano at 3:00 in the morning, write a fucking dinosaur song.
Well,
they don't complain about me. I don't complain when they have their parties, as long as they don't connect to my speaker.
So that actually leads me to a couple like regular topics we could discuss briefly. One, I have to ask, like, what was what was your inspiration for doing those songs? Like the Dinosaurs Super Cool, the Kmart is for Lovers, like those were just getting those, like just building them off the tweet replies was awesome.
Well, the dinosaur song was funny because I was super exhausted and it was like 11:30 at night or something. I was just sitting at the piano and I thought, wouldn't it be funny to do a children's song that had a bunch of swears? So I kind of pounded out this thing and I just was like, dinosaurs are fucking super cool, yeah. And I thought, oh, that's funny. And I just tweeted out this little video of that. But then the song kind of rattled around in my head. I was like laying in bed. I'm like, fuck, I got to really record this. So then I went and did like the whole instrumentation. And then it was 5:30 in the morning when I finished that thing. And I'm like, I got to go to work. Like, I stayed up all night. Like, I am an adult man. And I stayed up all night writing a fucking joke song about dinosaurs. Totally worth it, though. I fucking love that song.
But what was your inspiration to go to Twitter for the lyrics? That's the thing that really...
With Kmart is for Lovers, I went to Twitter for the lyrics. Just because I thought it would be fun to do something interactive. And I thought, more people would enjoy it.
The dinosaurs had some stuff from there too, from Twitter, I thought.
The dinosaur song, I asked for some dinosaur facts that I could put in as the slideshow on the video.
Oh, right, that's right. It was for the video. That's right. Okay, yeah.
I'm just always trying to bring people into my madness and have people contribute because I think it's more fun.
And listen, I don't want to speak for Rico, but I love being a part of it. Like, I tried to jump in on both of them. I think I just got there late because of the time difference or whatever. But
yeah.
I still think, in order to better show your madness, you need to have Octopus's Garden actually be a thing. Because I still think that is probably one of the... I said that to my buddy Michael, and I was like, you gotta watch this. This is a buddy of mine. And I gave him like a brief description, sort of like who you were. And then he responded 3 minutes later. He's like, where the fuck did you find this awesome looking hobo?
Well, I do have another music question, but I did love the sitcom opening that you did.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, is that? Yeah. I forget what it was called. It's not my fault. Yeah. That really does need to be a thing. I also love that instrument you were playing in the documentary. That was a really cool.
Omnichord.
I've never seen that before. That was a really cool.
It's the most expensive thing in my house.
How much was it?
It was $600 for that one. I have a piano in my house and mini guitars, but that's the most expensive thing I own. But I wanted like a really nice. I was waiting. I played one of those like 12 years ago at my buddy Steve Swift's house, and I fucking loved it. But I never pulled the trigger on it. And then a couple of years ago, I had saved up some money to get one, and I was waiting for just like the right one to come through. And I saw one pop up on Reverb that was like, perfect, came in the case. I loved it, and I bought it. And I bought a lot of stuff off of Reverb. I never received messages from sellers. This guy sent me a message the moment I bought it. He said, dude, you're gonna fucking love this. And that was it.
That's like, awesome.
But yeah, it's really bizarre. It's like for church ladies, man. Like, they used to make these chord organs where you can just press G and you could sit around with your fake book and just sit at the organ and play your church songs. And then in the 80s, they kind of morphed into that. Like, oh, you can have a church organ, but play it on your lap. And just made this bizarre instrument. But I love that thing.
No, it's really cool. I saw it and I was like, that's badass. So,
yeah, it's really silly and haunting. It's perfect for me.
I think you should, next time you go to your urologist, you should call your penis your church organ now.
I haven't had a reason to go back to her in quite some time, but maybe I'll just drink a lot and pee blood again and go back.
No, don't do that.
My church organ's dripping.
My church organ's dripping blood. She's like, you mean the penis? You're like, I hope so. No, they just bring in the fucking Omnichord or whatever and be like, no, look, it's dripping blood. I don't know what happened.
That's a good way to get kids not to fuck. It's just to replace the word penis with the word church organ.
Yeah, right?
I probably would get a couple of churches shut down too. If I'm really
I did interrupt you about the Kmart thing. So you were gonna get into the lyrics and like the inspiration behind that.
Kmart song. I just thought it would be fun to see if I could do this thing and ask people for lyrics to a song and see if I could pull that off. And I did it, and then I did a couple others that were pretty good. And then I asked for movie titles, and then I never got around to finishing that one, but I thought it would be fun to do one just out of movie titles.
I could help you with that, man.
Yeah, you could.
Well, I'd asked for people just to reply with their favorite movie, and a bunch of people put it in there. And I was thinking of doing something like We Didn't Start the Fire, or something like a rapid fire list of movie titles.
Uh-huh.
But I think my energy and stuff just kind of went away. I was like, I'm gonna fucking do. I did all that the Kmart is for lovers, all that shit for 500 views. Is it really worth the hours I would put in with movie titles?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
dude, we do a fucking
that goes back. I mean, I don't want to get into a sad thing, but that goes back to the scene from the documentary where you're kind of freaking out, and Mike comes over at 11:30 at night. It's you're. I understand why you're upset, not because I've been there, but I get the vibe. I can at least relate that you're upset. You feel like nobody cares, dude.
Yeah.
People, and I know in that moment you don't want to hear it, but people give a fuck, for real. Listen,
there was a lot more build up to that moment that isn't in the movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
Unfortunately,
yeah, I'm sure.
At the time, while that was going on, I was being called an abuser of women on the internet. There was a woman who had, the minute the day the Washington Post article came out, a woman told me later she was in a room of people on Twitter that hated me, thought I took advantage of my sex abuse and used it to market myself. And the day that Washington Post article went out, so did a bunch of accusations of these people that I had abused them. So much so that Mike May, who directed the film, contacted me and was like, hey, what's do you know this woman? She sent me a direct message and said, I love this. She said, Octopus Caveman abused me, and I think my story should be in your film. She didn't use my real name, which is interesting to me, because she doesn't fucking know me. So, there was this backlash. People were destroying my paintings. A woman burned one. I got a direct message from a random account of somebody that had purchased a Lovebot print that had cut it up. There was a lot of weird, heavy shit going on, so me feeling pretty unloved in that moment was, greatly added to by some of these people attacking me for that shit. But I didn't want them in the movie either. Right. I'm glad Mike didn't put it in there as much as it's an interesting side story. I think that aspect of it, those fuckers don't deserve to be in it. That story doesn't deserve to be a part of it. And this was an uplifting thing that eventually ended up good anyway. But yeah, that meltdown was about a lot of things.
Right. Okay. Well, and that's fair. I mean, that's 100% fair, obviously, and we obviously don't know that as viewers. Do you know what I mean? You're sharing that with us, and I appreciate you sharing that. But
I gotta give my homies the exclusive.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. But at the same time, man, we look at that. Even if we take it as it is, you know what I'm saying, without the rest of that context. Understand, man. There are. I watch your feed more than maybe I comment on it, and I don't mean that to sound stalkerish because I realize how it came out. But
no, he means it as stalkerish.
When late at night when you're making your dick fart.
Yes, exactly.
Tell me, OC. Tell me what's on your mind.
This is such a wonderful combination. It
really is. It really is
fun and sad and fucking awful.
All right. I wouldn't expect it to be less funny, but that's a good thing.
I'm still recovering from how you were giving Jennifer Garner shit about her fucking weird overtone.
Come on, man! Look at that toe.
I remember that.
If anything, you probably if that's the only that's the only assault on a woman you've ever done.
You are the king of naming things. Calling it an overtoe is just so.
He is pretty good at naming shit. I gotta give him that.
He's the king of it.
Yeah.
The fake Star Wars names.
Yes.
That's the sexy Star Wars names.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, but listen, man.
You had a thing you were telling, what?
I was just gonna finish up. Listen, you have a following that's, and I'm not just talking about the number, because I see how many people follow you on Twitter. You have a group of people that legit give a fuck both about your art and you. You know what I mean? And I need to stress that, man, because, much like Mike ran over to your house that night, and I'm glad that he did, if we lived closer, I guarantee you Rico and I would have been in the car. Do you know what I mean? Without question. We, and I think I can speak for Chris, the Green Kruger, and same thing. Like, there's a bunch of people. Smoke loves you to death. Believe me, he's told us multiple times.
I love that guy so much. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We shared a bed together.
Yeah, he we just, it's just a thing, man. And I, as far as your art goes, the fact that I can say I'm probably the only person on the East Coast with an original OC painting, and I've told you this privately, but I'll say it here too, is like the biggest badge of honor that I can hold. Like, I love that even, I'm sad that I didn't get to go on the hunt, because that would have been fun. But I'm I'm grateful to Rico for getting it and sending it to me. I'm 100% grateful. Especially because the reach around had to be really uncomfortable for him. But, Yeah,
it was really funny how he was talking all about how, oh man, I'm not a fan of anal sex, as he fucked me in the ass.
Well, that's what he has to do.
Dude, the weirdest stuff about the art is, like, a couple of weeks ago, I mailed one to Hong Kong, which is incredible to me.
Right, in a good way.
The weirdest to me is J.J. Abrams has one of my robots on his wall.
Did Greg give it to him?
Yeah.
Wait. Do you guys know what his production company's called?
Yeah, it's Bad Robot.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. You got Lovebot and Bad Robot together. They're gonna have a fucking kid.
Oh, see, share what you can, because I understand there's sometimes some issues when you're dealing with celebrities, and I mean that positively. But like, do you know if JJ contacted Greg and said get one, or did Greg just give it to him as a gift?
Greg told me he wanted to get one for JJ as a gift.
Okay.
So
that's still an awesome.
Man, like Greg got in on the art hunt like really early.
Yeah.
Even before he got one, he was sharing it and saying nice things about me. Like, he is just like the most wonderful man. So I had told him, he was like, just let me, I want to buy one. And I was like, you've done so much for me, man. Like, just, I really think he legitimized what I was doing in a way. Like, when somebody like that pops on and goes like, this art hunt is great, people see that and they take notice. And at that point, like, I'd gone and been a part of his, like, telethon for epilepsy. Like, we've kind of become buds. So I was just like, I just want you to have it. And I sent it to him, and then, I thought it was going to be cool, like, JJ's done a lot of awesome stuff that I like.
Except The Last Jedi.
He sent me money for it anyway, which I thought was, a class move, but I did not expect that. I just, thought it was cool, and I wanted to do something nice for Greg so he could do something nice for JJ.
If it was up, I would say, honestly, OC, I thought the porn star legitimized him more than Greg. That's just my opinion.
Missy's so great.
No, she seemed like good people. I'm just making a joke, but yeah.
Yeah.
If I can I add like a minor form of criticism?
No.
Of the documentary?
No.
Yeah.
I got nothing against, like, I love what Mike May did, but I kept thinking, like, he's really kind of pushing this porn star joke a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I was like, it's why is it super relevant? It's relevant one time.
I think it's a situation where it's like, see, we can get some humor out of it, but
that was weird.
I don't know.
I handled you having like a fucking meltdown. I'm like, why does he keep talking about she's a porn star?
We also should say this is not the final version. This is a version from 7 months ago that I had, and we had decided that we would put it up so people could preview it. So it could get taken down off of YouTube any minute now, because there's music in there that won't be in the final version because we weren't able to get the licensing, things like that. I think the only thing that's keeping it up right now is I have never monetized anything on YouTube. I'm like, fuck ads. I want to put shit up so you can watch it. If you want to support me financially, you can buy an album or you can buy a fucking painting. Right. I don't need it bothers me that people put ads on everything.
Yeah.
You don't need an ad on, like, your slideshow of a party, and, people do it, but I think that's the only thing saving me right now. I'm not monetized, so people can go watch that. And I think there's short clips of the unlicensed songs.
Well, that said, any advertisers that do want to advertise on PodAskew, we are still open to advertisers right now. Just kidding.
Well, you do it on the show, and I think that's the podcast advertisements. I think that's a great way to go. But yeah, people throwing everything on a fucking YouTube ad. I want to watch a 10-minute like movie review of like The Shining, and there's 4 ad breaks.
Here's a 30-second movie review of The Shining. It sucks. Don't watch it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So this is a whole other episode.
Well,
how does The Shining suck?
It's more of a joke to Rico because he actually said he's not a huge fan of it. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I think I'm just a bigger fan of the book, which there are a lot of awful Stephen King adaptations, and there's a lot of great ones. There are ones that surpass the book and make it original and make it fresh. Shawshank Redemption is a great movie. The book is good too, but it's just a short little fucking story.
If you really want to get Rico going, go ahead, Rico. Tell him the one that
the best part of the Shawshank Redemption book is that it's a short story, but most of that is just descriptions of the sewer as he's crawling through it.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. Everybody needs to read that. He's like, there were big turds, and there were little turds, and there were watery turds, and thick ones.
If you really want to get Rico going...
He really turned into J.R. Tolkien describing the turds.
Dude, I literally... Stephen King is that guy who can write the most detailed page ever. If you're talking about turds, be like, there was some turds with corn in it, there was some with peanuts, and there was some with just running shit. And then he'll write a whole chapter and it's just one quote. He did from Misery, where I was like, I turned the page, chapter 22, and then it's just a quote, has nothing to do with it. You're like, what the fuck? And then next page, chapter 23.
Did you hate Dr. Sleep?
I never read or saw Dr. Sleep. I haven't really seen I read one of his more recent short stories volume, Full Dark, No Stars, I think is what it's called. It had 1900 something. It had 1927. That short story about the father and his son that killed the mother.
I like that movie.
That was a good movie.
Rico, tell him the one that pisses you off though. Go ahead.
Which one?
My opinion, the one that you bring up to everybody, and I don't think you've gotten to ask OC about it.
Okay. OC, what do you think about the movie, the original film, Halloween from 1978?
Not a fan. Oh, wow. Wow.
That has been a debate going on since Halloween of 2018.
I don't like the characters. I think it's slow. It's just... I never liked any of the Halloweens, and I've been forced to see them all.
Let me, ignoring the sequels, let me just ask you this. Is your biggest complaint about the 78 Halloween that it's just dated?
Boy, I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, man. But when I did see it, it just felt slow. And I don't think it is dated because I watch a lot of horror movies from around that time. I mean, what year are we talking?
78.
Research. 78?
Yeah.
So when was Evil Dead 1?
84, I think.
Something. 82.
So we're talking a big leap. And then maybe it is about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, 79?
74. 4 years earlier.
74. Wow. Yeah. That holds up a little bit better, I think, because it's more shocking and weird.
Okay, hold on.
Texas is terrifying.
Yeah.
Hold on. I can't. Evil Dead's 81.
Okay. Sleepaway Camp. How about that one? I love that one.
You would fucking love that one.
That's 83. Yeah. That's 83. What was it? You said Texas Chainsaw? I'm just gonna check.
Yeah.
I know that's 74.
It's 74. He's right.
Yeah. I think the comparison is that they're both similar films, but the difference is Halloween is set in suburbia, which makes it kind of scarier because it could be your neighborhood.
Wow, There's a 12-year gap between the first and second Texas Chainsaw. I didn't realize that.
Oh, the second one is garbage. All the Texas Chainsaw sequels are real bad.
I'm not saying if it's good or bad, but I'm saying that the second one's in 86. The first one was 74.
Is that the McConaughey one?
No.
The McConaughey Zellweger one is worth a watch just because it's so bad.
I think that's like the fourth one. Or the third.
It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation from 95. Yeah.
95, yeah. That is worth a watch just for the performances.
Well, there was one 3 years ago with Steven Dorff called Leatherface.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that. I saw that. I saw they made another Texas Chainsaw called Texas Chainsaw, and it was like 2012 or 2015.
There's Texas Chainsaw
the Rob Zombie one?
No, he did Halloween.
He did Halloween, not Texas Chainsaw.
He did. Who did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in the early 2000s?
That was.
Well, hold on.
Michael Bay. Technically, Michael Bay produced it, but it's not Rob Zombie.
That was directed by Marcus Nispel or Nispel.
Nispel. I'm pretty sure he also did a lot of the reboots of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. He did a lot of that.
When did the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre come out?
2003, I think.
2003.
Well, no, wait, which one? Because there's a couple, it looks like.
He's talking about the earlier one.
Yeah, the earlier one, not the recent one.
There's one in...
Jessica Biel.
That's the Biel one, yeah.
That's, what year did you say, Rico?
2003?
Yeah, he's got, yeah.
Okay, so I saw that one. It must have been a little bit late, but Buffalo Bills, this casino at State Line, Nevada and California State Line, is this casino, and they have a free movie theater, and they just play one movie over and over and over in that movie theater. And I watched that. It must have been a year later they had that playing. I watched that shithouse drunk. I watched the second half first in this empty ass theater, and then just waited for it to start again so I could watch the first half. What a experience seeing a movie there. You could smoke in there, and I was super drunk and probably barely 21.
There you go.
I mean, in terms of horror movie remakes, the one from 2003 is pretty damn good. I mean, it ups the gore factor, whereas the original did not show that much gore. You had to do a lot of the damage yourself, I imagine, what was going on.
What's the best horror movie remake?
None of them?
I Gus Van Sant's Psycho.
I thought of
shot, dude, and it really brought that story to an interesting... It really felt like a beautiful homage to me. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, I think the scariest part is you see Anne Heche's butthole.
A couple of times, actually.
Yeah.
I'll frame by frame that. I might have jacked up to Anne Heche's butthole.
You might have made your penis
No. There's no might there, is there, OC? There's no might.
I'm pleading the fifth. I'm just putting it out there. It might have happened.
That's what you plead the fifth on, buddy?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're kind of concerned about what you say?
When did that come out? Because whenever that came out on
98?
DVD, that's when that happened.
Psycho?
So I need to find out. Because if I was 28, this is sad. But if I was 19, this is okay.
I think it came out in 98.
Which one? Well, is the one with Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's 98.
98. Yeah. So probably 99. So that's not so bad. That means I probably rented it on VHS, and I was probably at the age of 16. That's not bad.
That's reasonable.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
I would say that proudly then. This is pre-internet porn, dude.
Oh, yeah. I was 18 that year, so I understand. I'm with you, OC.
This is okay. I can say it proudly. But if it was if that came out in 2006, I'm a gross weirdo.
I don't know if this is the same movie, but they're doing a Psycho movie this year.
I think that might be a mistake.
That's definitely a mistake.
Oh, no, it's a different one here. It's based on the Buddhist tale of Angumala. A dreaded serial killer Psycho tells the story of a blind man who gets involved in a murder mystery.
Okay.
Yep. Came out this year in January. It's already out, actually.
I wonder if the twist is that Vince Vaughn is also in it.
He's not.
He's not. Look, Psycho, the fucking remake it's something that Hitchcock himself would have done. He would have gone and 80 years later, or whatever the fuck it was. No, 30 years, almost 40 years later, if he was still alive, he would have gone back and remade his own movie with a whole new cast, in color, shot for shot. I get it. But, it's still not the fucking original, and it's, in terms of horror movie remakes, I really actually kind of probably have to lean towards, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. It's pretty damn good. But there's not a lot. There's not a lot
of Evil Dead 2, if you count that as a remake.
That's hard. I mean, that's sort of like the Desperado El Mariachi connection.
Yeah.
It's a remake. It's also a sequel. Whereas
I'll take Army of Darkness.
Yeah. Same thing. The retelling. Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, the remake of Evil Dead was really good in my opinion. I mean, it's a completely different storyline, but it's just enough where you're like, I fucking dig it. Whereas, Rob Zombie's Halloween was kind of, So the answer to why Michael Myers went fucking nuts is not that he just was a normal kid and evil possessed him or some shit. It's just hillbilly. He's just a fat, fucking angry little shit who has psycho tendencies, and everybody around him is awful except his little sister. His fucking older sister is played by young Jenny from Forrest Gump, and she's fucking awful. His mom is Sherry Moon Zombie, so she's fucking awful. Just because she's Sherry Moon Zombie.
I mean, I like to think of House of a Thousand Corpses as basically like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake,
He really loves that. He loves that I'm going to fucking show everybody kind of awful saying the word cunt repeatedly. Everybody's saying cunt in all those movies.
You're right, man. Now that I think about it, that's like his favorite word. That's his version of Tarantino's N-word.
Yeah.
I wonder if Jay wrote that script for him.
I really like House of a Thousand Corpses because it's so creepy about this family and this organization, and stuff like that is really interesting to me. But then after that, he did what's the one about the
Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects, which was more about those three people turning them into heroes somehow, and then he just did The Three, which is real bad. It's real bad.
He made another one last year that
it was the third part in that series, and it's more about
those three
horrible murderers being the heroes somehow. It's real weird.
What's really weird is he made a sequel to his Halloween, and half the time, Michael Myers is walking around with a big ass beard. He just looks like a homeless dude, and I'm like, he looks like someone my dad would hire to fucking rake the leaves out front.
Rico, he's talking about Three from Hell. It's not just Three. It's Three from Hell is the name of the.
Yeah.
They're all. I mean, Rob Zombie's. I think my favorite thing about Rob Zombie is he's an amazing artist. His scene that he did in Beavis and Butthead Do America is probably one of the greatest fucking
I know. I really enjoy that too. That's very. And OC, you mentioned this a little bit earlier in our conversation. I think you also mentioned the documentary. He used to do all the art for the albums for White Zombie, and it was very similar to that drawing style. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have massive respect for that guy. And just, trying his hand and everything. It's, I just always respect people like that are willing to just put it out there and try something.
Who do you not like, OC? I'm actually asking legit, because I think you could be that person to be like, oh, look, this person made art, and I really appreciate that. It may not be my art, it may not be the art that I like, but I'm glad that you made art. But who's someone that you're just like, fuck you for doing that? Apart from
that's real tough because, like Andy Warhol, for example, I do not like Andy Warhol's art at all. But without Andy Warhol, we don't get to know about Jean-Michel Basquiat, Like he's like a necessary figure. It's crazy because, like, we're talking like the threads that connect everything. It's hard to say like fuck that guy because that guy's influence might influence something that you love. So it's hard to say that. I mean, there are definitely people who are like, are we talking specifically art?
No. Who do you not like?
Sublime. I fucking hate Sublime.
I'm with you. Oh, I can't stand them.
I fucking hate them.
I'm with you.
I don't
with
know.
you.
I mean, I know I've heard Sublime, but educate me. What's Sublime?
It's a band.
Sublime, yeah, like a 90s kind of reggae punk band with a lot of songs about drugs, and the singer OD'd on heroin, and I don't, they had a lot of hits, and I have, hats off to them. I respect them, but
see, you're
not a fan.
You're kind of doing what I said you can't do. You're still, I respect them. Hats off to you for making an album.
Well, because I'm not going to shit on. They have a following much larger than mine. They struck chords that people, it.
Oh yeah,
it resonated
Sublime
with
is widely followed and devoutly followed too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dad loves Sublime, but
I'll give you an example. Marlon Brando. I think he's fucking overrated. I acknowledge The Godfather is an amazing film, but it's not because of Brando. In my opinion, I think Marlon Brando being called the greatest actor of all time is bullshit.
That's like pointing at Click and saying Christopher Walken sucks. You're like The Godfather. That's end of the career Marlon Brando when he's just kind of phoning it in anyway.
No.
You're
Superman.
Brando. He won't even remember his lines in The Godfather. He's looking all over at the notes that are written on the wall. That's end of the career Brando not giving a shit. That's not him trying his best.
But then there's like Brando in like The Score and The Island Dr. Moreau, where it's like, oh wow, he actually did get loose.
Yeah.
But like even still, like On the Waterfront and Streetcar Named Desire, Brando, I'm just like, it's this mumbly, hey, what's going like enunciate, you fuck. I don't want to.
He was
a good-looking man.
Yeah, he was a handsome-ass dude.
Yeah, but you couldn't understand him. I had to watch fucking movies with subtitles while I'm speaking English. Like,
yeah.
So that's my example. Like, but I guess.
But I mean, you can't say like fuck that guy completely. Like, you have to respect at least that a lot of people that you do like probably do look up to him or were inspired by him.
Sure.
People with speech impediments, even,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Marlon's my hero. He made me understand that I can be somebody. I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender, even though I have much mouth.
I mean, Stallone. Fuck. He had speech impediment. People told him he couldn't do shit. The motherfucker wrote Rocky.
Okay. What else?
I mean, Rocky 2.
When I did Rocky 2, I had no idea that.
No, but Rocky is one of those things. If you write Rocky, that's like saying Aerosmith wrote Dream On. Like, that's their one good thing. Sometimes
wait a minute. Hold on. No, they've got better stuff than just that. That's good, but they've got okay.
I like Dude Looks Like a Lady. That's my favorite.
No, but, I can never hate Axl Rose completely because he wrote November Rain.
He's still a flaming turd, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, at a certain point, like Stallone wrote Rocky, so I will always respect him as a screenwriter.
Okay. So
he's earned that respect.
So what you're saying is the person that you shit on the most is yourself.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, but that's, clearly, as painful as it is to admit that, it's obvious to see that.
But that's my point is you are usually just a really good dude. You're a nice dude. You can find the highness and the good things in anybody.
I try to.
You try to. You and I, peek behind the curtain, we did become very good friends because we would reach out to each other. We know the other person's fucking up.
Yeah.
Like, I would DM you, which sounds dirtier than it should be. And I'd be like, hey man, you good? You'd be like, hey, thanks for hitting me up. I'm good.
Yeah.
But we both knew enough because, I've suffered from years of depression. I've got a girlfriend who loves me. I'm not on the street. I've never been in a situation that you've been in.
Right.
Where it's like, I don't know, like, I've never been in prison. I've never been on the street. I've never gone through what
I don't recommend it.
No, I already know I think it would suck balls because it just looks like it sucks balls. But I still have depression. I still suffer from it. I still tackle it. It's always a different day. Every day is, I'm actually feeling really good today. And then I also try to avoid alcohol. I've noticed that alcohol will make me be jovial and boisterous and kind of an asshole, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, I just can't comprehend, and I don't even really remember being sad when it happens. It's just like all of a sudden.
Well, and Mike mentions that in the day after portion of the thing towards the end there, where you had clearly had some things to drink or whatever.
He said you had a couple beers, but if you're doing your malt liquor, that's a couple more than what.
Well, you can see in the movie, and it's interesting because that moment, as tense as it is, when I watched it with my good friend, the minute you walk into the house,
I saw
how many beers are on the table.
Yeah, I saw that.
The hugest laugh of the whole movie from my friend. It was just like, oh, of course, this is why you were like that.
I had a question about the video at the beginning, the song, OC, because it's clearly very different visually speaking. So how old is that video compared to the rest of the doc?
That song is prior to my divorce. So we were separated but not quite divorced. So I would say I was in an empty house. There was no carpet on the floor on this trailer. I was basically squatting there when I made that song. So I recorded that song one night drunk, just kind of sad about the relationships falling apart and all of that relationship stuff. It was just a complete one-take improv. And I didn't remember recording it or anything. And then I heard it and was like, this is powerful. I've even tried to re-record that to see if I could learn it to play it live, and I can't make it sound that way anymore. I can't sing it the way it needs to be sung.
Right.
That it's just that pain's not in me anymore. I can't replicate it. But I liked it, and I wanted to do something to get it out into the world so people could see it. So I made that video, and I don't know, people can look it up on YouTube. I Hope You Die Screaming by Octopus Caveman and see exactly how old that video is. But I just wanted to make a silly video for that song to get it out into the world, and that was a Sunday after I had dropped off my son. We had just been at church. I went home, and I was just in this empty house with no floors, and just thought, like, I need to do something. If I had to guess, I would say that was 4 years ago.
I only asked because there was one clear giveaway that it had been a while that you kind of just referenced, so I won't do that. But the other thing was it was a good appetizer into the powerful journey you're going to travel through the rest of the documentary.
Like I said, there was that great mix of silly and sad in there. Where I'm trying to make it funny. I remember thinking I made this silly little video, and I put it up on YouTube, and then like 10 minutes later, I got a call from my brother, and he was sobbing on the phone. And I was like, what's wrong? What happened? Thinking I was about to do like my grandma died or something. He was just like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm great. Why? What's the deal? He was just like, I just saw your video. I was like, what video? Like, I'd totally forgotten. I just made this dumb thing with markers on a paper and did this silly Bob Dylan homage, but he was moved to tears by it. And that was like a moment where I thought, oh, this is actually a good thing. It's like I think that video might be, artistically one of the best things I ever did, because I don't think that combination of silly and sad is often done in a right way, but I think it's powerful when it is, like, I think people try for that all the time with like movies like Funny People and stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
I think that worked.
We probably should start getting ready to wrap it up, but I want to tell you about one other thing, OC, that I hope brings you some joy. My
is that John Adams behind you, by the way?
No, that's Stan Lee.
Oh, okay. I can't make it out completely, so it was like, it looks like a president, but now that you say Stan Lee, I can make that.
Well, to be fair, it's Stan Lee, and Deb found this for me. It's Stan Lee fading away like they do at the end of Infinity War.
Oh man, that's so heartbreaking.
No, but it's like it's a tribute that they made when he passed away. It's really kind of sweet.
Hey, he fucking wrote it. I think it's okay.
Yeah, he wrote it. I think it's all right. But speaking of Deb, she watched like the last 30, 40 minutes of the doc with me because she was doing something when I started it, and she loved your art so much that she has been sketching all night because she's an artist herself. And I haven't seen any of it. She tends not to share with me because that's just her thing, and I'm not criticizing. But she is sketching as a direct result of seeing your work. So,
that's so amazing,
I want you to know that you're inspiring her to pick up her stuff again and start scrolling. Whether she shares it with me or the world or just does it for herself is really doesn't matter. You know
what's insane to me? There's at least 10 fan-made love bots out there in the world.
I believe it.
And they get sent to me, and I fucking love it. I mean, there's little kids that do them. There's adults that do them. There's people that started painting again because of me. Mm-hmm. There's people that started painting for the first time because of me. Like, I love that there was somebody who reached out to me and told me that they were going to start painting because of me. And I think, in the movie, I'm like, just fucking do it. Just get paints and do it.
Yeah.
And, this woman was like, I've got 2 paint colors and I'm fucking going for it. Like, just start doing it. And I love that. Like, it's, it's not lost on me how moving it is that I get to be just a little piece of this connective tissue. I don't think that what I did is the end. This is all built into this culminating moment of this movie being forced to be released on YouTube because the festivals are closed. I don't think it ends with me. It carries forward, and there's somebody who might feel good about talking about something because of something I said, or there might, I feel like the end result of this entire journey and this entire film and all of that stuff is wholly positive energy flowing out into the streams,
Agreed.
I don't think there's anything negative that could come of it.
She said that your work reminded her very much of Picasso. She meant that as complimentary as she could say it.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, I agree too. Did. I agree.
I get Picasso, who I'm not a huge fan of his later stuff. I love his early stuff.
Yeah.
I get Picasso and Basquiat, and both of those blow me away because those are my dudes. And occasionally somebody will mention Francis Bacon, who is also Francis Bacon paints the way I wish I could paint.
Well, here's what I want you to do. I am making a request, and this is not for a piece of art because I know you don't do commission pieces, and I respect that 100%. Really, I do. But what I want you to do...
I don't.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's Rico. He doesn't respect anybody. What I want you to do...
That's why we love it.
Yeah, it's exactly. I want you to do a Bob Ross style show. You don't have to paint a Bob Ross style painting. You paint one of your paintings. But I want a Bob Ross style OC paints a painting show. I want to see that.
I've actually I've done this a little bit before. If you watch the movie John Deers, who gets the Pink Man at LACMA, he mentions he watched me paint that painting on Twitter.
Yes.
I was painting that live on Periscope and hating it the whole fucking time. And just I was drunk and painting this thing. I'm like, this is gonna be fucking horrible. And look how stupid this looks. And I was going and just kept painting on it and telling jail stories and all kinds of shit. And then I stopped for a moment and was like, holy shit, it's great now. It was just this moment, but he got to watch me paint that on Periscope, and then was waiting for me to drop that one so he could be there, which is awesome.
No, that's very awesome.
John's the best guy ever.
And I actually really, like I said, I liked them all. I really did, but that was one of my favorites too. If I had to rank them out, that was in the top 5 for me, for real. I really enjoyed that one. But no, on YouTube. I want a YouTube...
I talked about it. Chris Kim lent me some camera mounts and a few other things, and then I recently bought a GoPro, and I think I have the gear now to actually do it. So now I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it because I think it might be fun.
I'm curious how it's going to be because I think it's going to start out with you being like, "Hey, welcome to Octopus's Garden. I'm going to teach you how to paint. We're going to, we're going to have some happy little farty penises here." And
right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to turn into the opening scene of Apocalypse Now, where Martin Sheen is just really drunk and really upset, just punching mirrors and like, there's your fucking art.
Like, see, I've watched a lot of people that do this, and I need to test out a few different ways to do it. Like, I know there's one guy who just does video of the canvas, and he paints the canvas, and then later does the voiceover, which I think if I did that, it could be more reserved and about the art, but it could never be instructional. Most people, they're so instructional, and they're like, and now I'm doing this. I'd be like, and now, I don't know, I'm just trying blue. We're just trying some blue here.
You're on you're on Facebook, right? I think you shot me a message over there one day, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I think I sent you a private message.
Well, yeah, but that's what I meant. There's a guy who paints that I follow. I'll send you his page, and I'm not saying do his style because his style is very different than yours, and that's what it is. You each have your own style. But he films all his. Now, he does them live, but then he keeps the video on Facebook for watching after the fact. So maybe you can just take some inspiration from the way he does his videos.
Is he the Russian guy or the British guy?
I know. He's from somewhere in America. I don't know exactly where he's from.
There's a Russian guy and a British guy that are great, too. I don't remember the names, but yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole trying to see how I could do it. And I know whatever I do will be very different from what's out there. But
sure.
I have a feeling a lot of these people are getting their views from the instructional aspect of it. Like even Bob Ross, people watched that because they thought, oh, I can do that.
Right.
And maybe they'll be like, oh, I can do that. But there's so many wrong turns. It's just bound to be its own nightmare.
I'd be sitting there watching it and expecting to be like, oh, I could do that. I could get really drunk. I could do that. He makes it look so easy.
I do want to say, we were talking about depression. I think that the most important message of all of this, and I think that the Washington Post got it wrong more than anything. They pitched this story of suicidal artist. I don't want to slam the guy because he really blew it all open for me, but they really seem to lean into this suicidal guy. But I think the film shows it better that it was a guy who, I don't want to talk in third person. I was in a bad moment and I had a fun idea and I knew that pursuing that fun idea was going to help. And that's what I did. Like finding a way to get out of it and considering your depression, even just acknowledging that you have depression, acknowledging that you're not feeling good and that something needs to change. And I had this silly idea. What if I give them away? What if I put a note? That could be fun. Let's go do that. And the next day I started doing it. Like, that's the most powerful message of anything in that is that you got to do something for yourself to get out of that. So I did this crazy thing, and it's not, I mean, we talked a little bit about the crazy shit I did. I stayed up all night making a dinosaur song. I stayed up all night filming a stupid fake TV show intro. I'm constantly doing these weird things.
You got butt fucked it in and out.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, like, you got to just keep trying stuff. This just happened to be the one thing that people took notice of, and a guy made a movie about. But I would have done this for a while and moved on to something else. Like, it's always just you got to keep doing stuff. And if you're sad, figure out what you can do to try and not be or make it better.
But if I could be so bold, because I think I know you pretty well, and I know that type of, I have to constantly be doing something.
Yeah.
When you do something and then you move on to something else, there is a part of you that's like, I didn't complete it. I did it, but I didn't stick to it. I'm now moving on to something else. I failed at that old thing to move on to another thing. I
don't ever really fail at anything though anymore because I just get a little work done on something, then move to something else. Like I never. Like I kind of rotate back and forth between music mode and painting mode, and then some writing and some other stuff happens in there. It's never like I'm walking away from a failure. Yeah, I made a fun thing.
Yeah, you just want to create, so you don't think of yourself as a failure. If you didn't finish creating one thing, you're still in the process of creating. That's the whole point. And I get it, man. When I saw the doc, there were many, many times where I was just like, I get it. I fucking understand. There were times where, I mean, that pivotal scene was obviously the hardest scene to watch, as I'm sure was probably the hardest scene to film. But it was
easy for me.
It was easy for you.
I barely remember it.
if I'm really being so bold, I really kind of hope that you would, you still have that burnt painting. Because if anything, that's probably the closest. You really should fucking display that. If I'm really being honest. You know what I'm talking about?
I'll never forget, man. As Mike left, his son was filming. His son CJ May is an amazing musician.
Yeah,
it's great. A lot of his some of his music's in the film.
Yeah,
but his son was filming that night. But as they left, Mike kind of kicked the painting towards me, and he was like, "Save that! It's memorabilia. It's going to be famous one day, or something like that." And it kind of made me smile at the end of the night. But
I gotta agree. If anything is like you could say, oh, this art, I just felt like drawing a dude. And anybody can interpret that dude, whether it's Sean Penn or not, and be like, okay, it's clearly Sean Penn, although it kind of looks like my dad or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could be like, well, this is the one piece of art that I can actually say unequivocally, I have the definition of what this is. This is depression. If I could ever fucking, say this is a symbolism of something or a symbol of an art piece or whatever, it's that. It says I painted something, I loved making it, and then I'm just like, nope, I'm depressed now, I'm pissed off, I'm going through my own thing, I've got personal issues. Fuck it. Fuck the painting, fuck life, and fuck all of you if you don't like it. And now you can own it.
I brought that painting with me when I went to Greg Grunberg's place. Like he was filming the epilepsy awareness telethon. So I brought it out there to do this little bit. We filmed it, but it didn't make the cut. There was like a bunch of awesome people and great musical performances and stuff going on. But we had filmed this little bit where, Greg was like, I have this artist and we've commissioned him to do all these paintings and he's going to sell them for,
awareness.
Money for the awareness. And the bit was like, I was like, oh, well, I gave them away. And like, but you were supposed to sell those for money for the charity. And I was like, but I created all this awareness. And he was like, but the awareness is just for you. It doesn't say anything about epilepsy awareness. And then I was like, all right, well, I mean, I fucked up. We'll do better next time. But I have one left. And then I pull out the burned one. And he was like, it's all like burned up. I'm like, well, I mean, I got sad. And like,
you know what?
I was aware that I was sad. There's the awareness.
I do find it a little ironic, OC, that because you said yourself, he said in the doc that the drinking didn't help with that state that night, and that he took one of the Bud Lights you were drinking and poured it on it to put the fire out. So I think it's a little ironic that the beer you were drinking to get you upset is what put out the fucking fire.
Right, yeah.
But
can you tell Greg Grunberg to get back to me? I keep tweeting him, but he won't respond.
Stop it.
He doesn't even reply to me on Twitter sometimes. He uses Twitter the way every human being ought to, where he pops in and the messages he feels like looking at, he sees, and the messages he doesn't, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I use Twitter way wrong. We're just like streamless consciousness. Like, we're not that bad where we're like, hey, I took a shit today. But you would be that guy who'd be like, I have really weird looking diarrhea. Should I go to the doctor?
The most dangerous thing is I used to view Twitter as like work. It was like, oh, this is just like, I'm just doing marketing right now. Mm-hmm. And then you're up all night. Oh, I spent 8 hours today working on marketing.
Yeah.
There's a fine line.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. Trust me, I know. I do that with the show all the time, so I get it. I think I hate to say it, OC, but I think it might be a good time to start spinning things out here. So I want to thank you for coming on and sharing everything about what makes us love you as a person, dude. We really do.
Man, I love you guys. I'm so glad I met you guys. I'm so happy you had me on here to talk about some of this stuff.
I'll share with you.
To see your faces and hear your voices.
For sure, dude. I'll share with you a very quick thing. I actually, about midway through the documentary, through watching, like I said, I literally stopped watching right before we got on here and started recording. About halfway through, I texted Chris and was like, dude, thank you for introducing us to OC. And it had nothing to do with show content. It had strictly to do with just that I get to call you a friend and have you as part of my life. And so, yeah.
What'd you guys think of the post-credit sequence with Thanos?
I fucking didn't see it. I gotta go watch that. Shit. I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, but here's the difference. It was a giant farting penis. and it snapped its fingers and went...
and Ant-Man squirted out.
Wait, what, CJ? You want me to say what? You want me to keep talking after we were talking for how many goddamn hours? Let's leave these poor people alone, okay? Fine. CJ wants me to do a proper closing. But I'm not going to say the same shit that he's always said for every goddamn other episode. If you don't like it, you could blame his ass. Listen to us on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you find your podcast. Or you could simply Google us. Though, if you're listening to this message, you probably did do that. Please don't forget to rate and comment. Seriously, we're not just saying that because we want to. We need your acceptance. PodAskew is a proud member of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. If you need to shout at them or thank them for supplying our awesomeness, reach them at bigheadsmedia.com or follow their big-ass heads on Twitter at BigHeadsMedia. If you want to agree with or yell at us, especially CJ, follow him and me and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew. I am at RantsRico. And CJ is at M_Blade. Don't ask me why. I still don't know. Some secrets are best left alone. We want to thank Logo Mike for our logo. That's why we call him Logo Mike. If you want or need some good art, hit him up at logomike80@gmail.com. That's logomike80@gmail.com. It's worth it. You can help a starving artist today. We got to give a big sloppy thank you to Samuel Levins for all the original music on the show, especially our theme music. You can find Sam on Twitter at Samuel Lemons and his music on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. When life gives you Sam Lemons, you better pucker up. And finally, we have to thank all of you. Well, we don't have to. We want to. It really does mean a lot to CJ and I that you guys have prioritized your time listening to us. We really, really appreciate it. Now, since I still have your attention, I think you have all been missing one of the best parts of every episode. The damn it. So therefore, you all have to listen to the damn it. Think of it as a MCU bonus credit scene. There, that fucking better?
For you, you can stay at home and you can fucking drink yourself into a hole until you're peeing blood like I did.
Damn it! Dinosaurs are fucking